Welcome and good evening to this evening's Spotcast episode. I am Kainitsu, your host. This is brought to you by the Spotum Gang. We're doing this every 2 weeks here now. And as always, I'm here with my two co-hosts, Zykata and True Villain. How you guys doing this evening?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing all right. Hells yeah, brothers. Yeah, we got quite a bit here for you this evening, and we're just gonna first go off with seeing what we've kind of been up to the last couple weeks. So, Zykata, what you been up to, man?
Well, I mean, I've been up to quite a bit. It's been a wild couple of weeks. It's full leak season right now, so we've been keeping an eye on that, obviously. Been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals as well, getting really deep into that game. Started playing Ranked the other day. And yeah, man, it's been quite an action-packed couple of weeks. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else been going on with the community for you, or anything else on the back ends for you?
Well, I mean, that's always a day-to-day thing. But yeah, we've been coming up and brewing up new ideas. So yeah, it's just been a lot. But we're here, man.
Nice. Well, again, always happy to be in your presence, sir. And what about you, True Villain? How you been doing?
Oh man, been doing okay. I'm currently snowed in. Actually,
Oh.
Well, I mean, we're snowed in, and here where I live in the south, by like an inch of snow. So it's not, I'm from northern Washington originally, and we have feet of the stuff. So it's funny here whenever. But to be fair, the infrastructure is not really set up for it. We don't salt the roads and all that stuff. So if we get an inch of snow, we don't have to work for like 3 days. So so that's great. And I mean, other than that, man, I mean, we did community night last night, like Z said, with Marvel Rivals. Lots of fun, and
Nice.
we're doing that today. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate, but we'll get into that, in the next section. So
Yeah. Well, hells yeah, dude. Well, I'm right with you with the snowed in as well. I'm also in the southeast, so we actually got about like 5-6 inches of snow. It's
nice.
a lot for us. So and I'm pretty sure it's just going to turn into ice. So that's gonna suck. Also, on our last episode, I was sick with the flu. I did not know it. That's why I was like dying and coughing like every 5 seconds. So that's been my last 2 weeks. Has just been trying to get over sickness.
That sucks. Yeah, I had that shit not that long ago, so I know how it goes.
Yeah, but you had a throat thing going on, man. So that doesn't feel too great. You can't really talk or anything, especially when you want to try and do something like this. So
yeah, for sure. And on your front too, man, I did want to congratulate you too on 10,000 views on your last video, man. That was
man. That's a big milestone.
That's a lot of people, dude. I haven't had 10,000 people view anything I've done ever, not once, maybe 100. So, congrats on that, man.
Thank you. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm really surprised, honestly. It's still kind of doing okay. I was sick for 2 weeks, so I haven't been able to work on my next project, but want to get back into that soon. So hopefully it'll be up in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be done with that and moving on to something else.
Stirring the Final Fantasy VII hate. Love it.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta give my 2 cents now again. So all right. So again, we have catching up for the last couple of weeks. Again, hopefully everyone else in the audience has had a great couple of weeks as well. So Zykata, what you been playing here lately?
Yeah, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, both actually I just streamed it for the first time last night, but just been really enjoying that game. And then like Villain was saying, we did community night last night. We took a shot in the dark with trying to see if we could play a game that would, get a lot of engagement. And Rivals is it, man. We had I think 15 people pop into the community night last night. We actually had enough people. We had Rainverm and a bunch of other people pop in, Rope Man, Miggy, Monarch. I mean, it was a packed lobby, and we were able to do a custom game. And that game, I don't know what it is, man, but that game is just so much fun. So that's really what I've been doing. I haven't finished Dragon Quest 3. I was saying that I hope that I would have that finished by this podcast. That still hasn't happened. But I do intend to finish that this month. I will have some time, hopefully, to do that. But yeah, so it's been quite a busy time in terms of playing some Rivals in my downtime. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's kind of taken some time away from the other games that I wanted to beat. But obviously, there's so much other stuff going on in between. But with the server and the community as well, 2025 is gonna be a good year. I'm hoping so.
Yeah. So, sounds like it's so far. That's insane about community night. We haven't had a good night like that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's really awesome.
It popped off, and I was so happy. I was really happy about it. So I think we're gonna go for a repeat next week.
Nice. And it's also not too surprising. I mean, Rivals it's a competitor now to Overwatch, which is insane, and I'm really happy to see that. To be completely honest,
Blizzard's getting their just desserts with this, man. It's essentially a clone of their game, and it's doing. I think I don't know if these are accurate numbers or not, but supposedly almost half of Overwatch's Steam DB numbers dropped. Their active player base dropped when and a lot of people just straight up switched over on their channels because obviously for content, it's a way better option. People are seeing growth, and when you're a streamer, obviously you're gonna want to go where the growth is. So if you're playing Overwatch and your channel's stagnating, and all of a sudden you hop over to Rivals, and all of a sudden you see growth again, that's gonna be a huge growth vector for making this game a main staple for a lot of people and a lot of content creators. So a bunch of crazy stories.
Yeah, that's all. Again, I'm happy to see that's happening. So well, what about you, Villain? What have you been playing lately?
Well, I went back to the old addiction, Baldur's Gate 3, man.
Oh,
man, I was gonna I know. I was gonna play Kingdom Come Deliverance because the second one's coming out, and so I might just end up watching a YouTube video on that and playing the second one because every day is an exercise in not playing Baldur's Gate. So I started a evil character, so I've just been doing degenerate shit all through that. I've been playing Age of Wonders on stream, and it turns out I was the #1 Age of Wonders 4 streamer.
Wow.
Or am, yeah. Well, with 8 viewers, because apparently it's a relatively newer game and people don't really watch it. So it has a pretty solid player base. I mean, it has 4,000 players on average, which for a strategy game is pretty good. It had, I think, 42,000 at launch, which is really good. Yeah, for a strategy game. And so hopefully, by streaming it a little bit, maybe get some people into it, because it's very welcoming as a strategy game, because you can make any fantasy race you want. It's not that deep. I mean, it's deep, but it's not that daunting, I guess. It's not dry like Civilization.
No.
It's great. I love it. I haven't played it as much as some of the other ones, but I really enjoy it. And other than that, just Marvel Rivals. Having fun with that. I don't think it's as good as everyone else does, but it is fun. It's a great jump in and fuck shit up game. It needs a little bit more work. They need to balance it a bit more. They need to make the teams better, and they need to make the maps better. I can't imagine playing it. It's great for what we did, where you're playing with friends or quick play, but I cannot imagine playing ranked Marvel Rivals. I just can't. What are you ranked? It's so broken, right?
I haven't looked at rank, so I wonder if they actually have it to where it's roster locked, where you can only have no, it's not. Oh, okay,
I don't think so. Right. Yeah, they've said they're not going to do anything like that either.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they probably will change their mind, but as of now, they're not doing it. They said so. It is great though. It reminds me of them games you would rent at the video store back in the day, where it was for the PS2 or the 360 or whatever, where it's just a fun game. And that's fine. I don't need it to be anything more than that. But I think some of the Overwatch killer talk is maybe a little soon. Because I think that if you take those games seriously, you're going to be playing Valorant or Overwatch or one of the more balanced ones. But as a fun play with your friends game, I think it's great. So
I gotcha. Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I don't think it's the Overwatch killer. I do definitely see it more as a competitor, which is really nice to see because they haven't had any competition for like 10 years. So always like to see something come new in the spaces.
Yeah, and I mean in Overwatch, I mean I like Overwatch. I used to love Overwatch, but I hope they bring it back. But they have really fumbled the ball with it. That kind of criticizing Rivals isn't me defending Overwatch. They definitely need to kind of go back to the drawing board with that one a little bit.
Blizzard fucked up pretty bad.
Yeah,
with Overwatch too.
To be fair, I think Activision fucked up because a lot of the decisions they made, a lot of the decisions like Bungie made back, like it was all around. Because the whole reason they did Overwatch 2 was Activision, because Activision likes having individual products they never really enjoyed. That's why Destiny 2 exists, because Bungie wanted to do Destiny. And so with Overwatch 2, it was the same thing. They like having a new thing. And so they had Overwatch 2. And so maybe with Microsoft, maybe they'll,
I don't think so. Because Blizzard is still doing really, really shady stuff when it comes to a lot of their microtransactions. You can buy a skin set in Diablo 4 for $100. Those are not microtransactions. Those are macro transactions.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's egregious. So Blizzard's that's what they are now, man. They are Activision. They're not Blizzard anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. So we'll see where it goes. But that's about it for me. That's about all I've been up to.
Well, hell yeah. Well, I'm glad you're sticking with something that you are comfortable with. I'm the same. There are a lot of games I can replay. So actually kind of doing that right now. I was sick for like 2 weeks, so I couldn't really do much of anything. I just didn't really feel like it. I played Onimusha Warlords, which is a great remaster of Onimusha you can get right now. I completely forgot how short that game is. It's been a super long time since I played it, and also it was not necessarily a launch title for the PS2, but it was an early title. And again, it was supposed to be a Resident Evil game, like set in feudal Japan, but then became its own thing. And it is now. So you can really tell what that game like, and they still use like pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff, and it felt very weird. Seeing that on a PS2, or at least PS2 graphics anyway. But that was a nice, fun experience. And then another thing I'm kind of replaying through right now has also been some Bloodborne. I'm not going to go too much into this right now, but there is a great emulator for PS4 called Jet PS4. And it can almost flawlessly play Bloodborne right now. And I've been kind of just seeing how well it plays. Again, for the most part, it's great. Can play it at 60 frames per second, 1080p, 2K, 4K, whatever you want to do. It's emulator, if your computer can handle it. And I have a mid-range PC, and it's doing pretty good so far. But I think we'll have that for a possible future topic or segment in another episode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
To latch on to one thing you said earlier too about that, like every time I go back, I feel like that's a common thing when I go back and play like really old games, is I realize how short they actually are.
Right.
And when you were like a kid, they seemed so big and long. And
just one little funny memory for me. My first PS2 game I rented, and it was Zone of the Enders. I beat that game in 3 hours. I was pretty upset.
I was pretty upset. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you're a kid, when you're a kid, I mean, that's all you get a lot of the time. I know that's how it was for me. You got one game probably every like 6 months, and so that thing had to have some legs. That's why I like Knights of the Old Republic so much when I was a kid, because you could replay it so many fucking times, and all kind of different ways, and Morrowind and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's always nice to have choices in your games and whatnot. But yeah, so it's been great that we've been checking out everything here with our games and everything. Is there anything else you guys want to add for this subject, or looking forward to anything in the future?
I mean, really, just February is going to be really fucking loaded. I'm trying to decide. I'm trying to blow through Baldur's Gate and get that playthrough under my belt, because I mean, you've got Avowed. You've got Monster Hunter. You've got Civ 7. You've got that's all. That's 3 major ones. I can't really. I'm trying to think. I know there's one other one. I think. Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yep. So
yeah, it's a lot. It's a pretty stacked month,
and that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure there's something. Let's see, game release.
There was supposed to be Assassin's Creed, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I don't see anything else other than what I mentioned, but I think that new Yakuza game comes out too. But yeah, it's gonna.
Is
be
that the one with the pirates?
Yeah, it's the pirate one.
I saw some gameplay of that. It looks nuts. It looks so good.
Yeah, I still have to play Infinite Wealth. But yeah, so it looks good. I mean, it's gonna be a packed ass month. Because everyone's trying to squeeze it in before GTA 6 comes out. So.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but that's probably not going to be till later in the year, more likely.
Well, yeah, that's why it's all coming out right now, right? And so they get out of the way of.
That's true.
Yeah, people for whatever reason they don't like launching in the summer. I don't know why.
I guess it'd be kind of slower because people usually take vacations or doing all that stuff. People usually.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that you would think that would be the case because also a lot of kids are off in the summer, and you'd think that sales would be up as kids are bored during the summer kind of thing, but I guess not.
No, I mean,
guess not.
For a lot of kids, they're going around and seeing friends, or some people go to camps and stuff like that. So yeah, I could definitely see it. Excuse me. Yeah, being a lot lower in sales in general because he's in.
Right.
Big portion of their customer base are like people around our age. People who didn't have money as child but now can as adult and buy game. So.
Exactly.
True.
So true.
Yeah. So it's gonna be wild this year. So it's gonna be hard fitting it all in.
I'm curious to see how everything's gonna play out this year. It's gonna be pretty wild. Like you said, it's gonna be a lot of stuff.
I just feel like the last 2 years alone in games, like just every month, I feel like has a really good release. There's always something for a gamer every month that's dropping. That's been pretty cool. 2024 was stacked. 2023 was stacked. Obviously, 2025 is going to be stacked. So,
right. But a lot with the 2023 and 2024 was due to delays and stuff due to the bad times.
The dark times before the empire. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's true. But everything kind of just all mushed into like the last couple of years. I mean, you had Starfield, Wukong. You had so many games that were just like been almost like reached mythical status because they were delayed for so long, and then finally they came out and
disappointed everyone.
Disappointed every single person on the planet. No, but obviously,
project. I mean, Velgard.
The competition is fierce amongst the gaming space and these developers, and you're seeing some winners and losers emerge. Obviously,
yeah. But I think that's kind of like in a bigger subject, just about how the industry has been for the past couple of years. There's a lot of developers and publishers and not making the best of choices.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, obviously some games are, some developers are going down like, obviously just like a vision. They want to stay true to like source material and they're going with the vision. Other games are just making, obviously, cash grabs with some of the stuff, some of the shady business practices that they have. Like First Ascendant, I don't know what that game's about, man. Other than like the skins. Yeah, like the story is such bullshit. Like that whole game, it's obvious. But as far as everything else is concerned, we're getting some really good quality games. I know that everyone has certain gripes with like obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake and stuff like that, but you still had stuff like Wukong and obviously. There's a lot of other really big titles that came out that people were really, really excited about. So, and some sleeper hits too that came out and just like did really well. So,
yeah,
I love when like the little guy wins. So
right, yeah. One of those games that was kind of a sleeper hit that I've seen people talk about a little bit. I I really want to check it out. It's called Slitterhead. It is an insane game.
Such
where you're
a
basically
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, it's a pretty crazy game where you kind of like possess people and use other people to like fight and stuff, and it's an interesting concept. It's hard to talk about if you haven't played it.
You got to see it to believe it.
Yeah,
right.
It looks very unhinged, is what I was gonna say. Like it,
Yeah,
the name Slitterhead. It's very perverse, but it does look interesting. Is that one reviewing well? Is it out?
Yeah, it came out last year. I think towards the back end. And it's been in some people's like best of the game of years lists, and some other people like it's one of the most unique games of the year.
For
so
sure.
it's I think it's done okay on Steam.
I'm looking now. Let's see. Oh, very positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm definitely interested in checking that out because it looks crazy, and I was like, man, how did I not hear about this game?
Yeah, people are saying it's good. It might be overpriced, so maybe wait for it to go on a sale.
Yeah, if it were like $20, yeah,
yeah, even a lot of the good reviews I'm reading, say like it's not really worth the money. Like, what is it, $50?
It's 40, I think, 40, 50.
Yeah, it's $49.99. There's a demo though. Just play the demo.
It's all subjective.
And if you like the demo, fucking I might. I'll download.
Yeah, if there's a demo, there's literally no reason not to try it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I have to say, just because we're just kind of bantering at the moment, I like the concept of demos coming back as a thing, and a lot of indie developers do that, and it's a great practice, because it's nice to kind of have an idea before you buy something. So.
It's what got me to buy Banishers, and I love that game. That's a really, to me, like underrated game. I think the people that played it liked it a lot, but not a lot of people played it. But the demo got me. Now they can fuck you too. Final Fantasy 16. That demo got me in.
And that demo definitely was a bait and switch. Yes, it was.
I was very disappointed by the end of that game.
I was so upset.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
I have not played it yet. It's on a list, so
take it off.
Well,
unless it's the do not playlist.
Oh well,
then keep it on.
If I want to make content, so that's kind of one of the reasons.
I mean, if you want to keep on,
he's gonna torture himself. He's gonna torture himself.
Making a name for yourself.
Done it. Yeah, I've already done it for like 120 hours, 40 hours already.
Exactly.
So I might as well just keep on making that my life, man.
Yeah. Well, if you want to keep being the Grand Admiral of the Final Fantasy VII Hate Brigade, then
back in my day.
That he will.
I mean, the main problem with it, not to make this the Final Fantasy 16 hate podcast, but is that it just feels like an incomplete game. Like all the systems feel half baked. The combat is fun for a bit, but like there's no elemental weaknesses. There's no depth.
Really?
The weapons are all very bland and straightforward. The story is very tropey, and it undoes anything, heart wrenching that it does. And it's just not great. It's very, very mid. It's like a 6 out of 10, it's one of those.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear this. I have another friend that said he beat it and he enjoyed it. He actually quite liked the game.
Yeah, it got a boost, I think, from PlayStation fanboys because they got to ride or die for the exclusives.
Yeah,
but
such a weird brain rot.
What is it? It's on Steam now, isn't it? Let's see what Steam people say, because they don't pull their punches.
It's like $50 on Steam, which kind of surprised me.
Let's see what we're looking at here. Mostly positive. So that's mostly positive is kind of mid, honestly, right? Because there's very positive.
Yeah.
It's almost 50-50. Like it's almost mixed. So yeah, I would probably say that's fair, because I would give it like a 6 out. It's fine. It's just the demo set it up to be awesome, right? And I was really let down by kind of what it ended up becoming. But some of those boss fights are amazing. Like I'll give it that. It has fantastic boss fights. Like the music is fantastic. It does have really cool stuff about it, but
The icon battles you're talking about?
yeah, the icon battles.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah, from a gameplay perspective, they're garbage because it's basically quick time events.
They're quick,
but
yeah, they're QTs.
Spectacle,
But they're spectacle.
Yeah, like it's like the Dragon Ball Z game that we never got, right? So,
okay.
Now I'm kind of talking it up, but
yeah, now I'm convinced. I might just get it on PC now.
Again, it's mixed. It's mixed, right? That's why it's like a 6, maybe 7 out of 10 at some points. But
yeah, like there's things to like about the game, but there's obviously the game is the setup in that game is so high that it's almost impossible for it to like live up to its own expectations. That's how I felt.
It starts at a 10. It starts at a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it's like Game of Thrones shit right out the gate. Like, fucking the whole city's being killed. Everyone's fucking dying. And you're just like, whoa, you're just emotionally thrown. Yeah, exactly. Like, you're just emotionally there. You're very invested. It's actually what... I will play that demo for that game just to relive that like... Because, like, cinematically, it's pure Kino. Like, the game hooks you in right away. And then the game is a slow drip. And then... From there, it's downhill. So
it just kind of peters out, peaks really
fast. It just completely peters out, dude. I know people like, oh, you got to play another 8 million hours, but it's like, if it didn't keep my attention, then it's not going to keep my attention. 20, 30, 40 more hours in.
Yeah, the longer it goes, the worse it gets. It's just one of those. It literally starts at a 10 and just ticks down, and probably stops around like a 6 or a 7.
That's unfortunate.
I think the ending was pretty good. I think the ending maybe like jumps up a little bit. I thought the ending was the emotionality of it's exactly what you expected it to be, but they did it well. It was predictable, but at the same time, I think that the way they did it was pretty good.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, glad we got kind of that system out of your system. I'm a little more prepared now to go into Final Fantasy 16. So hopefully it won't be too daunting on me once I kind of reach those points you guys are talking about. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic here. A lot of big news been coming out here lately. And one of the biggest things is going to be those oh so precious GPUs that people want to have in their computers for playing said video games. So what's been going around, there were some leaks that came out before. Some of it seemed to be kind of right, seemed not be so right. It's been pretty interesting. There's also some people going out, or some more influencers are actually giving some tests and benchmarks for them, and things may not be as what they are saying. So, but yeah, so Villain, this is what you wanted to talk about this evening. You want to go over what information you have available for it and your thoughts?
Yeah, man. So, as many of you probably know, the new RTX 50 series cards have been announced. And they are very expensive. They are very, very expensive. The top end 5090 is $2,000. The 5080 is $1,000. And if you want to get in at entry level, it's $550. Which is pretty wild because even at the low end, it's more expensive than the whole console of a PS5 or a Series X. So straight out the gate, I mean, most people are going to have to wait probably a year to get these, or more even. And I don't know if these are going to be scalped or not. We can get into that, of course. But so looking into the specs, I mean, they announced a lot of stuff alongside the graphics cards. But the thing is a lot of that's coming to the 40 series as well. So there's DLSS 4, which is the upscaling stuff that's coming to the 40 series. DLAA stuff, which is basically where you use DLSS in place of your anti-aliasing. That's coming. And so the only real thing that I can tell software wise that's new to the new graphics cards is they're doing double frame gen, where instead of single frames that they're generating, they can generate multiple frames. And so long story short on all this stuff is it's a lot of software stuff that they've announced and not a lot of hardware stuff. And so it kind of looks like these graphics cards, they're really banking them on the AI stuff, the upscale stuff, the software stuff. You're not really maybe getting $2,000 worth of hardware upgrades, right?
Right.
Because it's like we were kind of discussing earlier. They say that the what was it, the 5070 is comparable to a 4090, but we're not really they haven't released the actual hardware specs, so we don't know if that's hardware wise or if it's just a lot of this AI upscaling stuff. So there's a big question about what are you paying for? What have they actually done? Where are we going with this? And so to kind of like start off, I guess, with all that information is I just think they're too expensive, honestly, for what you get. And I didn't know how y'all kind of felt about that, on the price point specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too surprising to me about what they're trying to do with the pricing. Just for the sheer fact what they tried to pull with the 40 series, or 4K series, like those were too expensive when they came out, and they had to start dropping the prices. Like, oh, people don't want to pay scalper prices when it's not scalped. So,
do you remember how
but
much a 4090 was? I can look that up.
geez, I want to say like 1,500 when it like that was like his first MSRP before they decided to drop the price. I could be wrong about that though.
I'm looking it up. You can keep talking. I'll look it up.
All right, yeah. But yeah, I'm real skeptical. I'm just real skeptical about the 5K series. I do feel like the prices again they're a little bit too high. Although the 5070 is kind of actually a decent price because you can get like a 5070 Super for $600. Although I looked it up recently and that went up to $650.
Are you talking about the 4070?
Yeah, sorry, 4070 right now, yeah. And yeah, so starting at 545, that's not too bad for asking price. Although I do feel like they're going to be, being a little stingy when it comes to the VRAM because man, like, oh dude, my ray tracing, it's so good. Don't have the RAM for it, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, that pisses me off too.
Yeah,
being skimpy on the VRAM.
Well, if you look into it, a lot of the AI stuff they're doing also applies to the ray tracing. So what they're kind of seem to be doing is we're going to give you less hardware, but we're going to use the AI to upscale everything. So you can run your ray tracing just fine, but it's not going to be native resolution ray tracing. It's going to be probably, resolved at, I don't know, 720p or whatever, and then just up-res. And then that way, you can run it. And so basically they're kind of painting a future where it's kind of this weird thing where developers don't design for hardware necessarily. They just design and then say, well, the AI is sorted out, and so that seems like a really weird design philosophy to have, right? And I don't really know, because as it stands, I don't know how good the new stuff is. Obviously it's going to be better, but the stuff we currently have isn't great. I have myself a 4090 and a 4070 Super, and I mean, on the 4090, you don't really have to use any of the upscaling stuff. But on the 4070 Super, you do. And it's okay. I mean, if you're like, to me, it's great for people who don't have a lot of money and they have to buy a lower tier card and they still want to play their stuff. That's great. The problem is they're charging entry level prices of $549 up to, you're probably going to want to get the TI. If you're going to get the 5070, you may as well save up a little more, get the TI. But I mean, while to us, that's like a, decent enough price, to your average person, I mean, $550 is a lot of fucking money, you know? And for just one part of your computer, they've still got to get the motherboard, the hard drive, the processor, and it's just, I don't know. Seems excessive to me for what you're getting.
I'm with you on that. I mean, it makes it a bit more difficult to try to get into the PC gaming realm with these prices, especially for the GPU. Like, again, I don't want to spend that much on one piece of hardware. Like $500, $600. That's as much as I really want to go for one piece. You know, I'm not rich.
Yep, absolutely.
So.
No, that's the price point, man. That's got to be the price point for the average consumer. You can't, because that's your console competition. That's your PS5 Pro tier. If you're going to be in the game, if you're going to be in the PC space anyway, you're going to go with, you know, that mid range. That it's got to be in that $500 range. Otherwise, it's like no, it's not feasible for the normal person.
No, absolutely not. And so also, I mean, at the same time too, it's like, well, what? It's just interesting that they had a whole hardware reveal and didn't actually reveal much at all about the hardware, right?
No,
like, at all. Because again, it's all AI stuff, and so you begin to wonder, like, how much of this stuff could my 4090 do, or even my 4070 Super do? Because it's all software at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to have the cores to run it, but not as many. So
no, especially if they're making it that better. And you know, it's actually nice to hear that they're going to give, like, you know, still some hardware support for the 4K series, allowing you to get DLSS 4. I honestly was surprised to hear that, because I was figuring, like, no, you got to get the 5K series for that, because that's what they did with the 4K series. They're like, oh, you got 3K there? Well, you can't get the 3.5.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's mostly an algorithm, and so, like, you should be able to conceivably. All I'm seeing here is that it's going to run on the 40 series. You should be able to run it on the 30s too, I think, but I'm not certain. I completely skipped out on the 30 generation. I had a 2070 Super, and upgraded from
the 30
that.
series still considered a revered generation for sure.
Oh yeah,
it will always be infamous.
TI, in my rig right now, and I upgraded from a 1070.
Dude,
so,
me too.
Yeah, that's crazy to have any regret. You shouldn't have any regret.
Listen, I had a 1060 6 gig, and that thing was the little engine that could do. That thing punched so far above its weight. I looked, and that was the #1 card on Steam for the longest time, because it was such good value. You could get it for like $200, and that thing, 6 gigs of memory. I mean, you could run a lot of shit at 1080p 60 if you had a good CPU and RAM. Pretty well. I mean, you started getting a little dodgy, you know, kind of around like 2019, but before that, I mean, you could run some shit on a budget with that. So nowadays, modern games, it's probably more of a 720p card. You know, you're maybe 1080p low settings card, because that 6 gigs of memory is going to kneecap the fuck out of you now. But you need at least 8, like at least 8 bare minimum, unless it's one of these new AI cards, I guess. But yeah, so I guess that was the main thing I kind of wanted to hit on with this, was kind of what we kind of think about where graphics technology seems to be going, because, you know, the AI
bridge.
Because I mean, you even see it in the PS5 Pro, right? Normally we're used
all
to
AI.
we're normally used to hardware coming out, and it's like, well, it's got this many flops and this many processors and this many, you know, CUDA cores and this many. But now it's like, listen, none of that matters. We got Pisser, you know, on the PS5. We've got DLSS 4. You know, we've got that's what they're advertising. And
I mean, it kind of makes sense. We're hitting a bottleneck on the hardware side. There's only so much, you know, the actual process node that they need to put more transistors on is just hitting that, Moore's law or whatever.
Moore's law.
And you know, the advancements now are going to be on the software side. They're going to use that DLSS magic, and that is the future. Like when the PS5 Pro was announced, right? Everyone's like, it looks the same exact, you know, as the because you can't see the difference. You can't see the fidelity differences between a YouTube video and actually playing this thing on a OLED screen with 140 hertz refresh rate or 120 hertz refresh rate. You know, you're just not going to have that. So it's a big difference. It's only a visual difference nowadays that you can see by playing it in the way it's supposed to be played on the proper environment, which is obviously you have to have a screen or a monitor that's going to pair with that system and that GPU. Like if you're playing it on a 1080, 60 hertz TV, you're not going to get all the benefits of what you're seeing with all these made up frames and stuff and how fluid they're making games nowadays. So I definitely think that we're going to see more of this, less so upgrading on the hardware and more so the software shit. Like even the Switch 2 is going to be utilizing Nvidia DLSS technology. Just a matter of it's going to be 3 or 3.1, but
yeah, I just I'm just wondering if now we should maybe start anticipating or expecting that when we buy new hardware, we're buying basically more software, like basically should we expect not to be able to run things native resolution anymore?
Yeah.
Like we turn on a bunch of features, like we just should expect upscaling. Like because right now
I don't
have to upscale anything. But at the same time, developers don't really, I mean, if they max out at 4090, it's because they're lazy, right? Like most of the time, most games, they don't, they're not developing for the top end of cards. And I oftentimes don't feel like I'm using all of my PC ever, right? Except for when I'm doing like Warhammer Total War on Immortal Empires, and it has like a zillion empires, like my CPU is screaming. But I don't feel like I'm maxing out anyway. So I mean, it may be like a good 5 years, maybe more, before what we're talking about really even becomes a thing. Because again, we're not really maxing out what we have. So but yeah, it sounds like we're all kind of not in favor of that, or we're just accepting it and moving on.
I mean, I am going to be buying a 5070 probably. I'm probably going to be buying a 5070 Ti anyway. Because I do want to do a new build. I'm going to do a new build this year, right? My current build is running a 3070. It was built in 2021, right at the crux of the chip shortage thing and the supply chain interruptions that we had after COVID. And I paid a lot of money for my GPU at the time because it was very, very heavily into there was a lot of crypto stuff going on at the time. But at the end of the day, it's the motherboard's kind of old, DDR4 memory on the motherboard. I want to go with a regular ATX size instead of what is it? There's ATX, then there's micro and mini. Yeah, I think I have a micro ATX where I only have a few of the PCI slots, basically one for the GPU and then one for whatever other, I think I'm using my capture card for that. So, but I want to get like the full 3 PCI slots. And I also want to go with a DDR5 memory motherboard, obviously going with the latest. Although I'm hearing a lot of things about CPUs right now. Somebody, I don't know who screwed up. There's some controversy with either AMD or Intel, but I think it's Intel. Either way, they're like saying, is it? Okay.
The newest chipset? No.
Not good, right? Like, don't buy it. So that's what I was going to say. I have to watch out for that.
Yeah, the 14s, don't do it.
Yeah, you're worth
14.
You're better off getting you're better off getting a 13 series instead of a 14.
Yeah, and so that's one of the little pitfalls that I have to obviously worry about. But I'm gonna build a new rig anyway, and I'm probably gonna go with the 5070, and I'm probably gonna buy into the DLSS magic. I'll see how it performs. But I do think you're right. I think we're gonna see everything on the software side. The only thing I hope that, and we're already seeing it, so it's unfortunate, is that like they're locking out DLSS 4 to anything but a 50 series. So you have a 40 series that's completely probably capable on the hardware side running DLSS 4.
You get 4. You get 4.
Yeah, you get 4 on the 40.
Yeah, you get 4
I thought they locked.
40s.
I thought. Oh, you do.
No, I said that earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought I read somewhere that they actually were taking away the fact that you were able to use that. Okay, that's good then.
No, the only thing the 40 series isn't getting that they've announced is the frame gen stuff that they've done. They're getting the DL and the DLA.
I don't know where I saw that then.
Yeah, I think the 20s and the 30s are getting the DLA enhancements.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is that stuff's really cool. I do actually use DLA on my stuff. That's the anti-aliasing. It's like AI driven AA. It's really good. It's better than TAA or any of the other, because anti-aliasing sucks. It's horrible. Like
it's never been too great.
It's something we still haven't figured out as an advanced society for some reason. And so, but yeah, I really like it. But yeah, so everyone's getting those enhancements as far as I can tell. I don't quote me on the 20s, but I'm pretty sure I definitely saw the 30s are getting it. But yeah, the 40s are the only ones confirmed for DLSS 4 with the 50s. So
okay, that's huge. I don't know where I saw it, but I thought that they were locking out the 40 series from it, which I was like, that's a little bit of a dick move. But if they're giving it to the 40 series, then that's fine, I guess. But either way, even if I don't get a 50 series, because I was actually going with that was actually going to force me to get a 50 series to get the DLSS 4. But if I can squeeze that onto a 40 series, I might get like a 40 TI Super or something like that. But either way, I'm building a new machine in 2025. That I think we're going to see more price hikes, unfortunately, especially in electronic parts. So that's why I'm going to try to be doing this sooner rather than later, because of reasons.
Exactly. Oh God.
Yep.
Foreshadowing.
Those pesky reasons. Yeah. No. I've been wanting to upgrade my card, and I might try to go for a 5070. Because if the, like I told you earlier, the 4070 Supers now are they were like 600. They went up in price now to 650.
That's
so it's
wild. They're great cards. They're fantastic for 1440p. But yeah, that's wild that they're that expensive.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Is crypto popping off again? Like what's happening?
No, I think it's because there's going to be there's possibly going to be shortages soon because they're not going to be having those in production here soon, and I think
people are jumping on it
already. Yeah, and also again might be for other reasons why it's already hiked up in price. So
yeah, it's one of the right now one of the best bang for your buck cards if you're for it. If you can do 4K with it, but you're going to be really pushing the card, I would stick to 1440p, and you're golden for years to come.
That's the highest I go is 2K with my TV. I need to get another 2K monitor for my desk. But yeah, that's what I'm possibly going to plan to do is get a 5070. And I might slowly upgrade my computer to an AM5 and DDR and all of that stuff. But
nice.
That'll be a slow trickle because it's expensive.
Now, I will say, I know we've been dooming and glooming all of this, but one of the big advantages of like this kind of design philosophy and DLSS and stuff is as games kind of go on and get more complicated and stuff, and you can't afford a new card, whatever, you just turn DLSS on and turn it like up more and more as more games come out, and you'll still be able to play the games. They'll just look a little grainier, but you'll have your 60 frames. You'll be able to play the game just fine, hopefully, assuming they keep
the game will run right. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I only had this 4070 Super and we got like 5 years from now, and I still for whatever reason couldn't buy a new one, I could just use DLSS hopefully and still get decent performance on my stuff. So that's a positive side. I just think it feels a little dirty, when most of the upgrade feels like an algorithm and you're not really telling me what I'm getting for my $2,000. Because if you look at the advertising too,
exactly,
on the advertising for the cards, they advertise each tier of the card as double the power of the one the previous, except for the 5090.
Right.
So the 5090 is like, is it that much more powerful than a 4090? Probably not. Right.
Probably not.
But
they're supposed to be. They're also kind of saying like the 5090 isn't really going to be for it's like not a consumer card. It's like
they always say that about the flagship one, and they're not wrong. I mean, there's been nothing this generation where I felt like I needed a 4090. I mean, if you want the 4K, if you want all the ray tracing turned on, which ray tracing's overrated anyway, get the 4090. But again, if you just want something that plays well, you can run all your shit. A 4070 Super is really the way to go.
Right. Yeah. No. I feel on that one. But again, if I can't get it on a reasonable price, I'm gonna have to probably go for that 5070 when it comes out.
It'll probably be fine. Yeah, it'll probably work just fine. I mean, it will have enough raw power in it to get you going.
Yeah. It'll get me for the next probably 5 years.
Yeah, for sure. So. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I had on that. Unless you guys had anything else, we can move on to Ubisoft.
Yeah, I was just about to ask Zycada if you had any final thoughts on the new cards coming out.
No, man. Like I said, I was gonna buy a 5070, and True Villain convinced me not to. So, I mean, I guess that's a positive. It's a positive outcome here.
Let's fucking go.
So, Nvidia's not getting the mega bucks from me this time around, but I'm still gonna have to procure a 40 series somewhere. Because even though as much as I love the 30 series, I do want the power. Although, yeah, it's whatever. I want less power consumption for the same amount of performance. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
The 4070 Super, dude, is the way to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go with. I want the VRAM. I want what is it? What has it got? 12? It's got 12 gigs of VRAM.
Yes, 12.
Some have. It's 16,
like I was gonna say 16 would be like the minimum I would want, but if it's 12, it's whatever.
Why does Trump want the 16 minimum? Why did he come out? 16 is the minimum I want. It's the minimum I want.
I just want the 16.
Nice round number. It's the most VRAM. It's the most
16
RAM.
is more than 12.
Anyway,
it's been proven.
Let's move away from that.
Please do. This is about to spiral out of control.
Yeah, this is about to get
the reins. Get the reins.
Working on that. All right. So, do you have anything else? So you're just more convinced. But I will mention you say they're not gonna get the megabucks from you. But if those 40 cards are gonna be going up, like I said, that 4070 Super right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay either way, obviously, but I'm not gonna appease the immediately the 50 series just falling off the assembly line. Essentially, that's at least that won't happen.
Let's be clear. These are just the recommended prices. You're not going to be able to get one at these prices for probably
at launch. Yeah.
Because it's almost like buying a car. Like there's like the recommended retail price, and then at the dealership, it's the exact same thing with graphics cards. So you're not. Yeah. So why even if this 40 series goes up, it will still be cheaper than anything on this list. So,
unless you can actually,
and the 40s,
like pre-order one when like they go on pre-order, but they usually sell it like immediately. So.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. No, it'll just be easier for me to procure a 40 series card, probably more than anything.
Yeah, I might break down and do that too. But it just depends. I did like the price tag for the 5070 was a lot better than 650. So
I know, but like Villain said, you're probably not going to be able to get a 5070 for that suggested retail price. So
yeah,
that's the one negative to it. Eventually, if things aren't doom and gloom, then maybe I'll be able to swap it. I mean, at the end of the day, my GPU with the rest of the build that I'm going to build, it's going to be more than able to handle an upgrade to a 50 series card if that becomes a feasible option. So I'm not too worried about it, but I'm definitely going to probably more so now that I know that DLSS 4 is not locked into only the 50 series cards. Then yeah, there's no reason for me to go crazy.
Yeah, make sure your power supply is good because they always need more.
I always overspec.
Yeah. I think the 4070 needs like a 700 watt. I think. Don't quote me.
I think I have an 850 on mine.
I got.
You're good then. Yeah, if you got an 850, you're definitely good.
I had a 750 and my 3070 chewed it to death. So I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna go with I don't know what kind of voltage spikes or whatever was going on, but it plays a lot nicer with an 850 watt power supply over 750.
Yeah, I saw that the 5090 needs 1,000 watt.
Oh my god!
Jesus, that's what I'm saying. You need a small nuclear reactor. It's kind of fucking crazy.
I'm going to spend $100 a month just to have my computer on. Shit.
So,
exactly. I'm like, yo, these power settings. I need to be able to like put this thing to sleep mode, and like it's got to like sip on power when it's not on. Can't even leave this thing on for more than a few hours.
Right?
Yeah, it's wild though, man. The amount of power these things are consuming are crazy.
Yeah, that's also been a problem. So it's like it's usually kind of better to stay around the mid cards just because you don't have to worry about stupid power supplies.
You're ripping out your power supply. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Well, the consoles are so limited.
Oh, chat is funny. I see what chat's saying. That's funny. Jesus. Yeah, that's not going to be the normal thing for most people, though. You're not going with 1,000 watt power supply.
No. No,
and then
that's
they're usually like
crazy.
those are like $250 on their own. It's like,
I know.
I mean,
they're
have
not
one,
cheap. Exactly.
Yeah,
I knew it.
I think, no, the 4090
Boom, big
needs
reveal.
1,000 watt too.
yeah.
Yeah, the 40. Let's see. I think so. I have one on my 4090 rig. Let me see. Power something.
I have not had the courage to ever buy like the flagship card for a GPU in my life.
It needs a 850. Okay. It needs an 850.
That's still a lot of power though.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I haven't either.
I wouldn't trust an
850,
850 watt power.
and unless
I wouldn't trust it.
It's an odd number. It's a weird number.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, you have an 850 in your rig right now, though, right?
I have 1,000.
I was talking about Xi.
Oh.
Yeah, I do,
I
have a 3070.
Oh,
I would not trust.
He did say that. He did say that.
I wouldn't trust putting a 3090 or 4090 in my machine right now with an 850 watt power supply. I would definitely go with 1,000.
Right.
I mean, 850 for a 3070, you're good. You're good with that. I would not go with a 750 for a 3070. But like if I had I probably would leave, if I could go to a 3080 and leave my 850 in there. I think 3090, 4090, nah, I don't think so. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah,
1,000 watt, but it's not cheap. Like you said, it's fucking expensive. That's the thing.
But I mean, if you're buying that card, you probably have the money to spend anyway. So
exactly. It's a different clientele, my friend.
Mm-hmm. For them, what they call whales.
Yep.
Hey.
But all right.
Yeah. I still think the console experience, though, man. I that's why I probably will eventually buy like a flagship card, like a 5090 or whatever, at some point in my life in the future. I've never had the courage to go up and buy one yet. But I also never owned like all the major consoles all at the same time. I've always like acquired them over time, like over decades. But like I have the Xbox Series X, I have the PS5 30th anniversary edition, I have the OLED Switch, the regular Switch. I probably will cave in eventually. But still that's what I'm like. The only reason why I never went with like a flagship GPU like that was because it's like, even though I do a lot of like streaming, this, that, and the third gaming, I never thought I would like be the pinnacle of like having to use that much raw graphical power from like a 3090 or a 4090. But then here we are,
Right.
We may, but we're reaching that cap now where it's DLSS and magic and not so much the raw power. So
yeah. It's definitely changing in that landscape. So yeah, so let's go on and move on to our next topic we got going on here. This one's actually going to be a pretty big one for this year, I feel like. And
I'm scared of this topic. I'm a little scared.
We're about to get messy.
This one's a spicy one. This is a spicy.
A little risque here. But yeah, so Ubisoft, man. The fuck is going on with that company?
Ubisoft.
They have not been making like any good decisions for the past 4 years, and with 10. Me saying that within 10 in a grand scheme of 10, but in 4 years they lost $10 billion.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Very bad.
Let's break that down. Let's dissect what went wrong here. Who's got the chart? Bring up the chart.
Let's dig into the checkbook.
There's multitude of reasons as why they're in this predicament.
They lost $10 billion in how many years? 4 years?
4 years. 4 years. They lost $10 billion.
So since around the pandemic, they've just when everyone else is seeing like pretty much exponential growth in that sector, Ubisoft seemed to be bleeding out.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
Yeah, they're not doing too great. So last year was their biggest failure. One of their biggest problems is that they've been trying to stay too safe and just keep on churning out the same Assassin's Creed and a Far Cry and then we got some Tom Clancy game. We just use their name all the time. So that's all they've been pushing out, and they like doubled down on Assassin's Creed. Like, the next 5 years we're gonna make nothing but Assassin's Creed games because that's our flagship and everybody loves it. But last year though, this is why they lost like probably almost like half of that $2 billion, or why not $2 billion, but $10 billion. I probably not, but They just had failure after failure after failure last year, and they have bloated budgets for so many things. So one of the biggest flops for them last year was Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws. No one really liked that game for various reasons. And it just didn't sell. It just did not sell. Like, I think it sold,
which is bad because it's like a fucking big IP. That's a Star Wars IP.
Yeah, and that's
for that to not sell. That shit sells like hotcakes, even if it is garbage. So why did that not sell? It's got to be a reason.
Again, it's just well, one, when people got like the early access to it, it was just a broken mess to begin with.
Buggy.
Yeah, buggy, just didn't really work right. They don't really cared much for the character. And like that was like a controversial thing. Like, oh no, we don't want a lady, Han Solo. That was some of the crowds, but it's mostly just because like just also scheming practices and everything. Like there's a Java mission that you couldn't get access to unless you paid an extra $40 for like a season pass to have access to that. It's like, wait, what? That already exists. You're just literally cutting it out to try to make more money. That's just part of the industry.
That's garbage.
I also think there's a lot of like Star Wars fatigue too, like, or Disney Star Wars fatigue.
True.
Really big part of that one.
Yeah. I mean,
that's actually a super good point.
Like, yeah, people are kind of tired of the like
combo breaker right there.
Yeah, here's the untold story of the janitor on the Death Star. We're also gonna shove Luke Skywalker in here so it's Star Wars.
Bruh. That's another big problem. I was gonna bring that up too. They just Star Wars is just waning at this moment. People aren't really caring about. There's
massive decline.
Skeleton Crew, like it doesn't have any audience. It's actually doing worse than the Acolyte, and it's not that people are saying it's a bad show. It's just nobody's watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another big factor in why that game only sold like 1.5 million. And that's still a lot of copies, but how much money they poured into it was like
they spent all of their audience's patience. Audiences aren't even just giving it a shot anymore.
Yeah, but not only that, they spent like $200 million. Like this is like where quadruple A games are getting you. They spent all that money, and again, they only sold 1.5 million, so that didn't make any profit back for them. That was just a flop. They finally came out with Skull and Bones, and man, was that a game from 2010? Let me tell you.
God, that was their pirate game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was supposed to be the big game.
I saw some people playing it.
Well, it was their boat game, not their pirate game. Nope. You didn't get to be a pirate. You got to be a boat. You got to be a boat, not a pirate.
Oh my god!
It was supposed to be their pirate game because it was supposed to be coming off the back end of how much people like Black Flag, and that's actually a really good Assassin's Creed game. I played it last year all the way through because I never finished it. And I was like, hey, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, that didn't do too well, and that was a project that was in 10 years of development hell. So again, just a bunch of money sunk into something, and just another big old flop. Then they also then came out with the X-Defiant.
Oh God.
I remember this one.
Let me see what player counts are.
Oh, that game's dead.
Oh no, Skull and Bones. I was curious about Skull and Bones. It's still going. Yeah, you go ahead. I'm just looking up player counts for Skull and Bones.
So with X-Defiant, again, it started off okay, kind of strong, but it petered out really well because it wasn't really offering anybody anything new or anything. It was supposed to be like their new good little live service game going to make them a lot of money. And then this is I love this trend here lately where directors are coming out of all these really big projects and everything, and then they're not actually, really performing of what they thought would be for sales and everything like that, or like just how well it's performing in general if it's like a free-to-play game or whatever for a live service game. And the director of X-Defiant was like, yeah, no, people were saying that our game's gonna shut down, and that's not gonna happen. We got a lot of plans. You be ready for some X-Defiant. Yeah, no, it's like 2 months later. Yeah, it's gonna be shutting down in 6 months. Like it's not doing too well there. So there was that. Then they also came out with some crypto game.
Yeah, like 4 of them, right?
Yeah, I think there was only one that really came out with.
There was more than one, I think.
Was there?
For sure.
Oh.
Yeah, they like just fucking spammed like crypto games recently.
Yeah, so they did all that. Like that's like a trend that died 2 years ago.
Yeah. Or NFT games. I think they're NFT games.
Yeah, it was NFT games. That's what it was. Yeah. And what was so funny about that was that like the NFT game that they came out with, someone broke it and there was making it to where everyone had to fight this one person. they hacked it so everybody fought them, and they were just making like all the money and stuff. It was, oh my god, it was so insane.
Okay, for the sake of accuracy, I only see one here, but I did hear that it maybe more are coming. Maybe that's what I heard.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which wouldn't surprise me. Also, do y'all want to take a guess at how many players Skull and Bones has right now?
2.
Oh, that's 118. But
okay,
which may as well be 2 for a live service game. But
right?
Yeah. I would say it's more than I thought. It is more than I thought. I thought I was with you. I was like, there's got to be like 5 people playing this game right now.
That is kind of surprising. I mean, they have been actually getting updates to the game, but it's got maybe a year left before they shut down the servers. Maybe, possibly, like the most extreme 6 months.
Yeah,
in my opinion. And then the big O elephant in the room before I go into that, then so since they've been doing so poorly with all these decisions and everything, there was already like talks of with Tencent to possibly go for a buyout, and that didn't really happen because the Guillemot family was like, no, yeah, buy us out, but we still get to be in charge, right? I felt that this company, you buy my company, but I still get to be in charge of the company. So Tencent was like, no. So that fell through, but there's still possibly talks of a possible buyout with Tencent, and that's gonna again bring us up to the big elephant in the room with, honestly, they're probably the last chance of being a company. That's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah. So Assassin's Creed Shadows has got a slew of controversy going on with it, with so many different things. First off, this was supposed to be the game that everybody wanted from Assassin's Creed. They talked about it. Everybody wanted to be a ninja in feudal Japan, going around doing Assassin's Creed shit. It'd been awesome, right? It was like slam dunk. They could not fuck it up. They found a way.
Yeah, they sure did.
They found a way, and in so many ways, they find a way to mess that up for themselves. Just because it's part of the conversation. A lot of people are just really confused about one of the main characters being Yasuke, which is a big old black guy in Japan. And it's like, okay, why did you go with this? And again, just also kind of how they're messing up because they say really stupid stuff. In one of their interviews talking about like Assassin's Creed coming out and everything. They're like, oh yeah, so when we came up with it, we're gonna have our samurai. We wanted our samurai, Ubisoft samurai, not Japan's samurai, our samurai. And turns out that their samurai was never a samurai. Like, it just never was historically. And
yeah, I heard about some people from Japan being upset about this.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are. They're like, why are you doing this? Like, and the whole thing about Yasuke is that he was like historically in Japan, and he was part of Nobunaga's court. And again, he wasn't ever a samurai. He kept him around because he found him fascinating with him being, just a black guy, essentially. But he was never a samurai, and he was like part of his court for like 1 or 2 years before he actually like ended up giving up throughout the war that was happening at that time, and surrendering. And then it's supposedly Yasuke kind of just left Japan and went back to wherever he came from before. So yeah, but the whole thing about him being a samurai, and they're saying like it's historically accurate, that's a whole, again, it's just fake. It was just made up. It was literally made up by some British dude who went into a Wikipedia page and put all the stuff in there himself about the Wikipedia page, and then wrote a book.
Yeah, wrote some books. Yeah,
he wrote a book, and then everybody bought it. And they're like, oh, this is crazy. There's a black samurai. Never happened.
Greatest self promo ever.
And so it's like the only reason why we can think that they wanted to go this route was just for a lot of stuff that I feel like happens in the gaming industry and media right now is just fake futurism and stuff like that. That's all I really want to say about that topic. But yeah, and again, not only are they
a lot of virtue signaling,
yeah, that's just happening a lot. I feel like in media, but Ubisoft's being a pretty bad offender about this right now. And not only was that being a thing where it's like, why there's really no reason you did this other than what was just said, but they also just messed up really bad, and they apparently had consultants on this project to help them make sure that it was like what they're putting in there was right and not offensive and everything like that. They were putting Chinese characters on stuff in like promotional stuff and like everything, and it's instead of like Japanese characters. They also stole like a banner from a historical reenactment group in Japan and didn't get permission to use that banner in their game.
Yikes.
There was also this weird cartoony like Funko Pop statue or figurine they made, and it literally was like half a Torii gate that people found very gross and offensive because it was reminiscent of a Torii gate from one of the bombings. I think it was
Nagasaki.
Hiroshima. Was it Nagasaki? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Nagasaki. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it was in Nagasaki, and that still shows there as memorial to what happened at that time. And they like, oh, it was promo.
They showed one burned up and broken, and
it's just a lot of bad taste, and they've just had so many bad takes on that whole thing, and they keep delaying it now. It was supposed to come out in February on Valentine's Day of all days. Valentine's Day.
They just posted another delay the other day or today.
Did they?
Today or yesterday?
It was yesterday. They posted it. Yeah.
Oh,
got delayed until March.
See that?
March. They delayed it again until March.
That's wild.
Like, oh, we just want to make sure that we have the game working and everything. Like, that's a bunch of little bullshit. You guys release broken stuff all the time. So yeah, no, you're just trying to delay the inevitable. You guys know your game is not gonna sell, because that's another big thing that's crazy about this. It's supposed to be a big IP, recognizable. It's Assassin's Creed. It's been around for like 15 years. There's lots of entries in it. It always sells. It's just one of those like intake games that a lot of casual people just buy. But no, it doesn't really seem to be doing that. You can actually look up on the wish lists for Steam database, and it's like 112th on the wish list right now, and it has 9,000 followers. Just to give you a little bit of an example of something else that's comparison. Yeah. So again, you brought up Deliverance, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That game, not as big, has like 55,000 followers.
Jesus.
And it's like 15th, 16th in the wish list right now.
Lord.
Right. So yeah, that's just showing like, okay, this indie game is beating out this big, huge AAA game. And it's like some writing on the wall for them. Like they got to know that people are not interested in this game, and it's for so many reasons. What's even more interesting now is that as of right now, they're even still prepping for. They're already starting to prep for bankruptcy and to sell off IPs and stuff like that. They probably won't sell off Assassin's Creed right away. Like, and that's kind of like their bread and butter.
Yeah, I don't see them selling Assassin's Creed. No.
But they might sell off Prince of Persia. I don't think they'll do this either, because they just love just having the Tom Clancy name just to slap on shit for years after that man had passed away. I would be really surprised if they sold off Tom Clancy. I don't think they will. But
what else do they have to sell? I mean, they have The Crew. They have what else do they have? I mean, that they could sell off big IP wise.
I think that's pretty much it for them. Oh, Rayman. They could sell off Rayman.
So yeah, they might. Because what else have they done with Rayman?
They've not done anything with that.
Who would buy Rayman? Who's like, oh man, let me buy that bitch off you. I'm gonna make a hot new Rayman game. The kids are gonna love it.
Embracer Group.
Astrobot just won Game of the Year. Platformers are back, baby. So
I mean, but Rayman was never good.
it doesn't mean that it can't improve, you know.
I guess. But on the Assassin's Creed stuff, before we move off that too much, I did want it does seem to me that the big issue with it is that a bunch of people who really just maybe were fans of Japan but had no actual real experience of Japan. Like, let's make a Japan game, you know. And then you're going up against like Ghost of Tsushima, which was clearly researched and clearly made with a lot of care and attention, not just to Japan, but Japanese like films and movies, you know, made in a lot of like call outs to that type of culture stuff. And then you have this that looks like it's French people, but a bunch of Americans got together and were like, yo, let's make a cool Japanese game. Fuck it. And didn't really put like a lot of thought into actually making it authentic. In the same way in the same way that their other games are. I mean, yeah, there's the argument to be made that in Assassin's Creed 2, Leonardo da Vinci fucking makes you wings that you fly around on with fucking flames and stuff. But at the same time, like the games themselves are very authentic to the time and place and stuff. But the events in them are not, right? Like, so I mean, you know, but at the same time, it's also their fault. Well, it's also their fault because they're the ones saying it's authentic, right? I think you avoid a lot of this by saying, no, we're doing like a stylized, you know, our take on it, not an authentic. But they've come out and said it's authentic, it's historical, this is the most realistic interpretation, you know, all this other shit, and it's just not, right? And so it's gotten them into a lot of trouble, I think. So
yeah, it definitely has, and they've actually they've gone back and forth talking out about both sides of their mouths. Is like, oh yeah, we pride ourselves in our historical accuracies that we bring into the authenticity of you know, of these eras and blah blah blah. And then people are saying like, you guys pride yourselves on historical accuracy. What are you guys doing? You apparently had consultants who are like, we've never said that about Assassin's Creed. What are you talking about? We've always let you know it's more fantasy than historically accurate. And then they went back like, well, no, we want to be historically accurate. You know, that's our thing. So like, they're just again, they just got brain rot. Like they got executive brain rot at this point. And yeah, it's just and again, also with the whole Assassin's Creed Shadows, again with possible still talks of Tencent and Ubisoft are both trying to use Assassin's Creed shooters as their bargaining chip. Again, Tencent more likely sees the writing on the wall and is like, yeah, they're going to not do well with this game. And Ubisoft's like, look, this is probably going to do well, you know? And if it does, then we need to have more power. At least, I guess that's probably what the Guillemot family's trying to go for. So, yeah, it's been a crazy ride for Ubisoft last 4 years, and last year specifically was like the worst one. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here in March if they actually release that game at that time.
Hell yeah, it's going to be. I'm really curious about. I mean, they've delayed it twice now. I'm surprised. I didn't hear about the March delay.
Yeah, this is just this is just got delayed again. So this is like the second delay.
That delay clearly is to get out of the way of some shit. I mean, that's clearly. I think
it's more so that they're kind of really preparing to probably sell off. So
yeah.
They're probably shuffling. There's probably a lot of corporate shuffling going on right now. People are, leaving the ship like leaving the sinking ship like a bunch of rats, essentially.
It could be. Usually, when you're trying to sell, you want to have something out there making money because it raises your value. But at the same time,
or they're making the game the best they can, and all of a sudden, this is going to be almost a completely different game when it gets released, and it's going to somehow be praised and have high acclaim. Who knows?
That's not gonna happen.
That is not the option I see happening. But hey, I could be wrong. This is an interesting timeline we live in, after all. All the crazy shit that keeps happening. So, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they turn around and Assassin's Creed Shadow is like a fucking amazing game. It could happen. theoretically, but I don't. I'm leaning that it's not going to. So
I mean, it'll be as good as their other games. I mean, it'll be as good as like Valhalla.
Exactly.
It'll be as good as like Odyssey. I mean, you know,
it's gonna be a Ubisoft game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Ubisoft game. And the big issue I've always had with their games, for a while now, is they're just very factory built. Yeah, and they're I'm trying to think of a good way to describe their stories. They're just very bland. Like nothing happens. There's no drama.
Yeah, super vanilla.
Feel flat. Yeah, vanilla is a great word for it. It's like
yeah.
I just get so bored with them. The only Ubisoft games that I really play anymore, me and a friend of mine have like a tradition. Like we'll play Far Cry together, you know, when a Far Cry game drops, because those are fun. Like those are fun co-op games. But I couldn't tell you any of the story of Far Cry 6. I beat the fuck out of that game with my friend, but there was a dictator guy, and I think we beat them. There were some characters. I couldn't tell you a single character's name. I couldn't even tell you my main character's name. Like the character we both played, because you play like a copy of the same character. It's very old school. But I couldn't tell you his name. I have no idea. Because there's just nothing memorable about it. But they're a good time, but outside of that, I just can't be bothered. So
yeah. I have not played a Ubisoft game in forever until last year. Again, like I said, I bought Black Flag on sale for like $4.
I loved Black Flag. That was the last Ubisoft game I really liked. Was Black Flag.
Me too. That was a really good one, and it was way better than Assassin's Creed 3, because that game fucking sucked.
Yeah,
I hated 3.
Yeah, no, listen, I was a defender of 3. I actually liked Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I thought it was fine. It wasn't great, but it was, you know, I liked aspects of it. Because again, I used to like Assassin's Creed 1 through 4. I really liked the Tom Clancy games. I like Splinter Cell a lot.
Right.
Those old Ghost Recon games were fantastic. Me and my buddy used to just run co-op missions in those all the time. But after 4, I think they really just went downhill.
Yeah, it truly did. And what really killed it for me for Assassin's Creed to even like care about as a series at all or franchise was that they fired the original director and writer, and they just killed off Desmond. And that was a real gut punch, man. Because it's like, dude, you had this whole thing leading up to like 2012 Mayan calendar shit, and you're gonna eventually be Desmond out in the real world and doing like Assassin's Creed stuff in the modern times, going up with Templars. That's what it was built up to.
Yeah,
and then we never got it.
We don't have audio. He's raving so hard we can't hear him.
Oh no,
is he back?
He destroyed. No, he's good now. I think he's good now.
Okay. Yeah. He was going Super Saiyan. It had to mute.
Oh no, I'm too loud. What happened exactly?
It did just mute it. Like you were in the middle, like you were about to ramp up to that apex of rage, and it just muted. It just muted.
Oh no, I just went quiet. Honestly, I was just
your face got red, and then it just stopped.
Oh no.
No, I actually, dude, people bitched about the future story and Ass Creed, but I really liked it. Like I was a big fan of the future story. I was locked in with Desmond. I'll say this: I had mixed feelings about killing Desmond. I thought it was actually because I'm like I like dark stories and I like when they take dark turns and like because I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. And so when you're just playing and you realize like they have this brain in a jar and you realize it's Desmond, you're like, the fuck? Like they killed him off screen and just put his brain in a jar. And that was, I actually liked that, except for the fact that it was the death of the future story. If they had done that, but replaced it with something interesting to continue it, I think it would have been fantastic, because that's the kind of stakes that make a story interesting, right? You have the main character, suddenly he's dead with his brain in a jar, and you're like, the fuck is happening here? And then you come in with an interesting character to keep the story going, but they listen to the people shouting about how the future, because to be honest, the future segments outside of the narrative were the worst parts of those games, gameplay wise, but all you had to do was make those gameplay parts better. And instead of do that, they're like, oh, well, we'll just kill the the future side, because they heard people say they hated the future stuff, but what people really meant, I think, was we hate playing that section of the game because that section of the game sucks.
Yeah,
gameplay wise.
Yeah, and I think in I want to say it was Brotherhood of Revelations, where they were kind of making that better again, where they were showing, Desmond, since he was going through all of his past memories from ancestors and stuff, that he was picking up on Assassin's Creed skills, and he was doing all that. Like, that's where it got interesting. But again, yeah, the main reason why they killed it off was just because they fired the writer. Like, well, we don't want to do this story anymore, so we're just gonna that's gone. We ain't gotta worry about it now.
That's probably the sound they made too. They probably made that exact sound in the boardroom.
Sure did. That's how executives talk. I tell you what.
Indeed. But yeah,
go
ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that just I think Assassin's Creed is both responsible for the rise and the downfall of them, because it built them, I think, but it's also destroying because they just milked it. They never said, well, let's do more projects that isn't Assassin's Creed to kind of go off this hype, of people love our games, people love Assassin's Creed, let's do something else. They're like, nah, man, nah, fam, we're gonna double, triple down on Assassin's Creed.
We only need a Trinity, man. We only need Far Cry, and we need Tom Clancy and Assassin's Creed. Sometimes Prince of Persia, but
yeah, it's just. I mean, they've been floundering for a long time.
Yeah.
I've never been again, my Ubisoft fandom kind of teetered out around Revelations, and then 4 kind of brought me back in a little bit. And then after that, I don't even care. Like, if they announce something and it says Ubisoft on it, well, I'll say this, Watch Dogs 1 brought me back in because I was like, this game looks awesome. And it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, you played it and it was fine. 2 and 3 I just didn't even bother with, but because that was firmly in the fuck Ubisoft category, but for me,
right.
But timeline, but yeah.
I feel you on that. I completely forgot about Watch Dogs. I didn't really care for the first one. I played like maybe 3 hours, and I was like, this kind of sucks. But the 2 was actually pretty fun. I liked the art direction, and like they went with like more internet culture with the characters and stuff. Like it felt more like kind of like I'm a hacker team, geeky hacker team that does like vigilante stuff. Like that was pretty cool. But yeah, I forgot about that one. That's probably the only other game I played from Ubisoft that I've kind of cared about. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, well, Watch Dogs was another missed fucking opportunity, because I think the problem with Watch Dogs,
the hype with that game,
dude, and it was again, it was fine. But if they had, I think they listened again. They just listened to the haters too much, because Aiden was a fine character. Like, he was gruff. He was, it was Geralt of Rivia, the voice actor. He just wasn't. I mean, again, it's Ubisoft writing, so
yeah.
And the gameplay fell short of like Grand Theft Auto, and I think that if they had stuck with a darker, more serious story and improved the things that needed to improve, Watch Dogs would have been that new franchise that they needed. But instead, they're like, oh, we're gonna be, because the things you liked about Watch Dogs 2, the quirky kids hacking and shooting 3D printed guns. I hated it. I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. How are you going to go from like dude like John Wicking his way across Chicago to this?
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
It was too much whiplash for me, I think, and I just it seemed a little too much like, what can we make that the kids like, and Kainitsu apparently, and
they spoke to my soul.
They did, apparently, and but teach their own. And Legion looked like a cool idea, but it looked like a big tech demo. And so I just I fell off of that too pretty hard.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, so Zai, do you have any thoughts on Ubisoft?
Ubisoft? Yeah, I think unfortunately they're gonna go the way of the dodo. Their IP is gonna be sold to the highest bidder, and they're already a shell of their former selves to begin with. So I don't think the future's looking too good for them. But like this is a very highly competitive space, and Ubisoft came in strong, had a lot of good ideas, and then got content and lazy, and they try to ride some commercial IP. Didn't really work out for them, and then they try to do a little bit of the virtue signaling thing, thinking they were broadening their audience while at the same time probably isolating a lot of it. And they're getting their just desserts, in my opinion. It is what it is. I mean, this is a cutthroat business. I mean, we can't allow these monoliths of developers to just exist in perpetuity and not expect them to survive the landscape. That's why we need other developers to eventually break through, like Game Science. I mean, obviously,
Larian.
So, Larian. Larian's a much better example than Game Science. But Game Science, they are a Chinese developer, so it's a little bit of a market against them.
When you said Game Science, I was like, who the fuck is that? And I remember the Wukong people, right?
Yeah, the Wukong people. Yeah.
But real quick, what do you guys think is gonna happen with Ubisoft, just prediction wise?
They're gonna go away.
Yeah, it just shut down.
So best case scenario, they get bought out.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, they get liquidated and sell off their IPs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the two things that I see for them in the future.
Okay. So you don't think they're gonna find another, similar to like when Vivendi was gonna buy them, they're gonna get like a cash infusion from somebody and keep going?
No,
I don't think anyone. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be. No one's gonna take on that risk.
Mm-hmm.
No,
they've been bled dry for too long. They're like a husk.
I think one possible scenario, because Ubisoft is fucking massive. Like they're too big.
Mm-hmm.
They have like it's like tens of thousands of employees. I think there's a possible future where they just scale down. Like they cut their numbers in half. Like you wake up one day and they've laid off half of their fucking studios, and then just kind of do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's possible, because the Guillemot's have this weird, like, they're almost like a mafia family where they have this like pride wrapped up into the fucking company, and they have to have control. It's them or nothing, and so I can see them burning it to the ground before they sell it and lose control. And so they'll lay off, and they'll sell stuff if they got to, but then maybe scale down to where Ubisoft is maybe more of the size of like a Take-Two or something. Right, because they're still, Take-Two is huge, but Ubisoft is massive. I think they're the biggest, other than maybe Activision, just headcount wise.
Technically that's gonna be Microsoft, because
now of course they're like a super conglomerate. Ubisoft.
But Ubisoft is one of the larger publishers and developers in the game.
Yeah, 19,000 they employ. That's a
insane
lot. Let's see how many Activision has. Activision head count. 13,000. So they have 6,000 more than that's Activision Blizzard, than Activision and Blizzard.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's fucking insane. They're huge, and for what they make, like 2 games, 3 games. Like, and
they sometimes support Rainbow Six.
Yeah,
that's
exactly dude. That Rainbow Six, there's a fucking basement somewhere with like sparking server rooms and like a janitor who runs Rainbow Six, but that is like the heartbeat and lifeblood of Ubisoft right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a steady stream of income. Yeah, let me see, what is Rainbow Six's player count?
It still has a pretty dedicated fan base. It's pretty competitive too.
70,000. Jeez,
that's still a lot of people playing it.
So yeah, Ubisoft is literally propped up by the Rainbow Six server room.
Right now they are, because they also have a lot of microtransactions in that game.
Yeah. Oh, they canceled that Division game too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, because we didn't talk about the Division. I mean, not that there's much to talk about, but damn,
maybe some dust to blow off the shelf.
Yeah, that was a big one too. Did it and on X Defiant too? Did either of you play X Defiant?
No,
I did not.
I did. I played it briefly I played like one night with a friend, and
I was almost really tempted to play it once.
No, there was something.
Someone I knew was streaming it.
I'm pretty damn good at shooters. Like just naturally.
Not to toot my own horn or anything.
No, I am tooting my own horn. I'm really good. I was like a Halo champion back in the day.
This is why I have a 4090, so I can play with 8,000 frames per second. Okay.
And I was really bad at XDefiant, like really bad at it. And then when I got done playing that night and I went to look it up, and apparently there was something weird in their like code that was making like the auto aim shit really bad and like making people miss shots and get killed and shit. Wow. So I was like, that must be what the fuck that is. I mean, I'll admit when I suck at something, but it was like an unusual amount of sucking, and the game was just fucked and they couldn't figure it out. And I don't know if they ever fixed it.
No, because it's shutting down.
Yeah. I guess not. And
at the end of January, right? At the end of January, shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when the shutdown date, the cutoff date for the server was, but another game that shut down that made me upset was Friday the 13th. That was really sad to see happen.
Never played it.
I shared some shit with that
game. Wasn't it like a Dead by Daylight ripoff though?
No. See, the thing, I hate how this is always said, and it's such a fucking myth. So Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th were being developed at the same time. They were released less than a year apart. No, they're not. It's not a Dead by Daylight clone. It basically was released at the same time Dead by Daylight was. Yeah, because Friday the 13th is a better game than Dead by Daylight, in my opinion. I do not like Dead by Daylight. It's the gameplay loop, in my opinion, is ass. Whereas Friday the 13th was so much better. You have proximity chat with the camp counselors. It's, Jason is just straight up OP. And he's the only killer you could be because it's a Jason game. And he's just OP. He literally can fucking do whatever the fuck he wants. And the camp counselors have to strategize and figure out a way to either call the cops, get out in 2 different cars, or get off on a boat. You have multiple ways of escaping. Or that you can run out the clock, which is usually never. So it's very different than Dead by Daylight. I don't like Dead by Daylight. I tried to get into it multiple times. Friday the 13th, I had some of the best memories, especially during COVID. I played that game. I probably played 1,000 hours of that game during COVID. I have the best memories, man. So I do have a little bit of rose-tinted colored glasses with like the nostalgia of it, but at the same time, I still think to this day, it's a better game than Dead by Daylight. Said that it's gone, though. And it's only gone because of IP issues, but
right. Yeah, and that's
supposedly
way of the world, unfortunately. So all right, so let's go ahead and move into basically our last segment.
Here we go.
Yep. Pretty sure some other people are going to be here for this, but
what's that noise?
All right.
Did Cicada did he just stop? Stop doing that. Stop.
I shivered.
So better be
just open the window.
Jesus Christ.
Getting a little hot and heavy for Nintendo over here.
Well,
but yeah, so we're going to be talking about the most leaked console ever, apparently, at this point. We're going to be going into some more Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. It's been insane about what's happening here lately. We've got some motherboard and die information. We got some controllers going on. We got some possible ideas of upcoming titles to come out on the console. So lots been happening like the last couple weeks. And Nintendo's just wanted to just keep their foot in the mouth and not say anything. But right, yeah. So we're gonna go moving on to our Nintendo resident of the server, Zykada, and go ahead and fill us in. What's going on, man?
Yeah. So I guess this is just gonna be a continuation of what we talked about last week. It's been, first of all, a lot of people are saying like, oh, you're spoiling the whole reveal of Nintendo. Like at this point, the floodgates have been opened. Everyone, it's out there in the public sphere. It's out there in the public space. What is everyone to do? This is a once in a lifetime event. This is never going to happen ever again. Following this whole entire saga and this dates back to the beginning of 2024. So we know for a fact that the Switch 2 was pretty much ready to go, was being ready to be mass produced back in early 2024. So that's why people were constantly like, it's coming. 2024 is going to be a reveal. Nintendo, obviously, they said, yeah, fuck that. We're not gonna reveal it this year. We're gonna ride out the Switch. And because there was rumors back in September, like towards the end of the summer, and they were saying that basically they had a whole reveal filmed. They had actors paid, the whole thing, NDA signed. So everyone was like, for sure. There's a whole thing on like subreddits, like the September gang. You know, people were like, oh, this is going to happen in September. September came and went. Nothing happened. But every month after that, just the leaks kept coming. So it's like, okay, there's going to be a dam that's going to break at some point. Either the leaks are going to get to the point where, for instance, remember what happened with the GTA 6 trailer? It literally leaked the day before it was supposed to be premiered. And then what did Take-Two Rockstar do? They just released the trailer right after that. So people had the same line of thinking with the Nintendo leaks. Like, all right, well, the public has so much information about this next iteration of the console. It's almost like they got to force Nintendo's hand. Nintendo is stubborn as shit. They're like, no, we're not going to reveal it. And then they go in. So CES, right, just happened earlier this week. And just fucking accessory makers just had like entire Switch 2 demos of everything, which basically would confirm and is in line with all the previous leaks that we've seen. So it's a little sus, everything, because Next Handheld, who is one of the guys or the people that leaked out that image of the dock with all the AI around it to obscure their identity, quote unquote, that does appear to be the back of the dock for the Switch 2. We also think we know what the logo looks like. Let me see if I can bring up my Twitter page as a reference, so because I have some images and stuff. And this is something you guys can do in the future too. If you have like something like material you want me to bring up on the stream, just give it to me and I'll put it in a tab, and then we can look through it on stream so that way the viewers can see it as well.
Right.
Let me see. Just want to post out.
He brings this up now.
Yeah.
After we've already had our topics and everything.
Oh, we live and learn.
Yeah, while you're looking that stuff up, I was looking through a lot of that on Twitter, and it gets wild, like in the comments about the leaks and stuff, and like the people who I saw a lot of people being like, you're disrespecting Nintendo by leaking their stuff and not get. It's like Nintendo's $1 billion company. Like go try to run a Super Smash tournament and see if they respect you. Like
exactly.
You know, they will respect you with a fucking lawsuit. I mean, they're trying to sell you something. Like, and these people are in there like ball clutching about, you're gonna let them release things in their time. Like, do it. Yeah, it's so fucking stupid. And
it really is.
I don't get like that dedication to like corporate overlords. Like that's just insane.
Yeah, I don't.
Who cares? They don't.
And then they're like, it's gonna upset the sales. It's like nobody is not gonna buy a Switch because it leaked early. I mean, no one is gonna be like, you know what? I was gonna go buy one of them, but I mean, it did leak early.
Yeah, I saw the prototype and I was just like, meh.
Hey, that new Zelda game, it looks great, but hey, that shit leaked early. So
it's ruined now.
I can't do it. Mom, don't buy me one of those, you fucking bitch. I don't want it. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But to go back to like Kai's original thing when he said like, this is the most leaked console of all time, like that is probably true, and
it is.
I don't think any company's ever experienced this kind of leakage to the point like, what does Nintendo have left to reveal?
Right.
We know what do we know about the console? We know that it's bigger. We know that, well, exactly. I'm going to get up to that. So we know that this thing, as it's literally called the Switch 2.
Yep.
I'm bringing up the logo right here. This is the logo. It is literally the Switch OG1 logo, the Joy-Cons, with a number 2 next to it with the Nintendo Switch text underneath. That's it. So Nintendo is not deviating very far. Is this going to be a generational leap? And then we see like at the CES show, we had this video of, and I don't know if you guys are looking at the stream, but we have this video of the magnetic Joy-Cons in action. So you can see, if you're watching this video and you see the demonstration that basically, according to them, and I think they actually backtracked on this, and I don't know if that's because of an NDA or something else, or Nintendo sent like some kind of cease and desist, but they said that this render was not based off of a mock-up or like a CAD file. They actually have a retail version of the Switch 2 in their possession. But there's also corroborating evidence that other people have this as well, including that the Switch 2 retail version might be on the black market too. So there's a lot of noise, but the evidence is now weighing more in the favor of everything that we're seeing here. So when you're looking at these new magnetic Joy-Cons, they have a new button on the back, and it has like it actuates a little pin. And when you press that button, it pushes the Joy-Con away from the console. And then when obviously you want to reattach it, they just snap in. So it's going to be a nice like Apple premium type feel. But yeah, like what else do we really, what else do we need to know? Oh, another big point that you see in this demo is you see the optical sensor. So what is that for? So there's two big actually features. There's the USB-C. Actually, we can talk about three things. So the biggest things that I see, and you guys jump in and discuss things that you notice between the OG Switch and this Switch, is you have the USB-C port on the top. Could be just for charging. If you've ever played your Switch in tabletop mode and tried to play for an extended period of time, you can't charge your Switch and play tabletop mode. So this could be passive charging, sure. People think there's more to it than that. So that's a possible thing that they might have to it might be a big reveal. It also has an optical sensor on the Joy-Con. People have been speculating this may be a new gimmick. This may be a new way to interface with the Switch. It may give us Wii-like controls. It may give us motion-like controls. It may allow us to have DS-like controls, stylus-like controls, cursor-like controls, Wii menu-style-like controls. Who knows? And then what was my third thing that I wanted to talk about? So you had the optical sensor, you had the USB port on the top, and there's another big thing too. The C button. So they have this mysterious C button on the right Joy-Con. What is this mysterious C button for? So this is one of the points that I wanted to bring up. Now, this is my pure speculation. I'm going into Fantasyland here. I have no concrete evidence for this. But there was a couple of corroborating rumors that people who have seen the leaked OS for the Switch 2, there's this app called Vidmeo. There also, a couple of months back, was this mysterious NSO playtest. I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a mysterious NSO playtest. Let me just turn off the window capture on here. I feel like I'm in school. We're back on Okay, so yeah. Hold on, what was I talking about again? So there was the Vidmeo. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So there was also this playtest that Nintendo did on NSO not too long ago. It was basically I wasn't a part of it, but I saw a video of it. I actually got a DMCA takedown notice. I posted a video of it on my Twitter. Nintendo actually took my post down. And It was just like, it looked kind of like a Minecraft-y type thing, but it was like a big social type game, like, where multiple people are playing on different worlds and stuff like that. So I was like, that's interesting. Nobody knows what that playtest was for. Everyone has speculation as to what it was for. But essentially, I mean, it kind of seems like they were testing their servers for something. There must be some type of upgrade on the back end of Nintendo servers for them to want to get that kind of feedback from users. So that was a little weird. It never really panned out to be anything. This Vidmeo app may be some type of TikTok-style app. That's what it's been rumored to be. That Nintendo is going to step into... First of all, Nintendo took away your ability to share your gameplay clips on Twitter last year. I think in the beginning of 2024. So that was a little weird. Some people like, oh, well, Twitter's API got messed up, so Nintendo just stopped using it. But it was a weird thing. Nintendo scrapped it. It was actually kind of a big feature that I actually personally know people. I think Cam was one that used it. And so that was weird. And then now we're hearing that they may be creating their own mini game clip social network. It seems crazy because it's not a typical Nintendo move. But it also makes sense from a crazier standpoint that Nintendo knows that they can't survive on their hardware alone. They live on their they live off of their software. Right. And they need an ecosystem. I think they may be going kind of like a social network style, OS style ecosystem where you're going to pay monthly for your NSO. It's going to be more there because that was one of the biggest complaints about the OG Switch. The OS was literally the worst OS that Nintendo's ever given us on any handheld. No chat function, no community function, barely any social functions in it. For them to create this new, if this is real, would be I think everyone would be blown away. I think this would be huge news. It's going to be the talk of the town. I think personally there could be some credibility to this because this has been told by two different people at two different times, and one of the people that talked about it talked about the optical sensor and using cursor controls before the optical sensor was leaked on the new Joy-Con. So there was a couple of things that are kind of lining up, but I think it would be a crazy good move for Nintendo when it comes to this to do something like that. And then obviously that USB port on the top could be for anything. It could be for peripherals. It could be for, people are speculating, a camera. But I assume that Nintendo's going to have a million different things because Nintendo's super experimental. But, you know, what do you guys think that's going on here? Like, have you guys ever seen anything like this in your life in terms of, like, the way these leaks have come out, just the continuous, like, barrage of leaks, why Nintendo's kind of just saying, fuck you guys, we don't care. Like, what do you guys think is what's going on here?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Like, again, yeah, I don't think any console's really been this leaked this much before. And on top of that, like, what company would just not just like cave in, like, okay, yeah, well, here it is, guys. You already know. But yeah, no, Nintendo's like super stubborn and like, you know, we're sticking to our plan and we want our plan and that's it. We don't care what you guys are seeing. I do think it's been kind of nice to actually like see kind of more of what the console's going to look like. When I first saw that demonstration video of the company with the Joy-Cons, I was kind of confused about how like the shoulder buttons were going to be working and stuff because like when it was panning over at the top of it, like it didn't look like there was, you know, a button or a shoulder button, but you had trigger. I was like, wait, what? They're getting rid of shoulder buttons, but then it panned over to the left, and I saw it was like, oh, it's like way more flush. Than compared to like what it is on the current Switch. So, and they also elongated it too. So that's kind of interesting. Also with the grips on the back, I find that kind of cool. That you can change them out and have different possible grips for yourself because that's a big complaint I have.
That is not. I don't think that's actually going to be on the real. I think that's all just. I think that's just the accessory manufacturer that has that. I don't think that's actually part of the real Switch itself.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to add that to the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, those are custom Joy-Cons, I think.
Right.
I don't think the entire. I think if you look around it, it's like a little case that goes around both the console, tablet, and the.
Pull it up again while we're talking about
one second.
That video you had. Yeah, I think that'll be helpful. I was going to say that anyway. I just didn't want to interrupt you at the time.
No worries.
Yeah.
I got it up. So yeah, if you look at it, if you look at the console. You'll see like it looks like there's a shell over it because all the buttons are indented. That's not the actual Switch 2 shell. That's like a shell on top of it. This is so this video came from Genki, which is a accessory maker. This is their product that they were showing at CES, I guess.
Okay, so
that's probably why it's more flush too.
Okay, gotcha.
Because the shell's on it, so that's probably why it's more flush.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think this is actually showcasing two different products if you're watching the video. The first product is a magnetic Joy-Con charger. So there's no shell. That's the pure Joy-Con without anything over it. Like, but when you're watching this part of the video, that is something on top of the Joy-Cons and something on top of the console itself. Gotcha. So it's actually just a small demo of two different products. So like, yeah, this one's showing you the detached, reattached, and then they're attaching it to that little magnetic stand. That is that product, and then we're looking at like a full case product with some grips on the back of the Joy-Cons here.
Gotcha. Okay, so the whole grip thing, it just might be kind of a gimmick for them and not necessarily what Nintendo's gonna be doing. Although it would be good for them to kind of fix those Joy-Cons, man. Like, oh, dude, they're
Hall
so
effect now.
crimpy. I hate them.
Oh, they're a little bit bigger
you
now.
got big hands. Don't work.
Let me
too well.
see if. Hold on. Let me bring back the my Twitter timeline here. I'll show you. There is a comparison. I believe I did post a picture.
They have to be bigger.
The size of the Joy-Cons. They are bigger.
They have to be because man, they're so tiny.
Yeah, well, that's why I use Nixie Joy-Cons because they're much better.
Yeah, Nixie Joy-Cons. They're so much better. Yeah, they are.
They don't do it for free.
Well, yeah, they have Hall effect because they're Hall effect. Yeah, they have Hall effect.
Don't do it for free.
Yeah, exactly. They have Hall effect sticks in the Nixies, so that's why they're good. But I thought I had a picture of it.
They're possibly good.
the size comparison between the original Joy-Con and the new Joy-Con, but it is considerably bigger. They're not full size thumbsticks still. So you do have actually it might be here. No, that's just the side. That's just the picture of the new Joy-Con.
Go back to that side one where the circle.
This one?
No, yeah. Go down. That one. Yeah, let me look at that real quick. Okay.
Yeah, that's your optical sensor. You can even see that blink red in the demo.
Whenever he passed it back to me, I was gonna speak on that a little bit, but I'll wait until he's done with his thoughts on things.
Okay. I'm just a little flabbergasted that again they're just saying so silent about everything and they don't want to bring anything up for themselves. Like this might as well at this point. But yeah, I'm ready for them just to go ahead and announce it. I'm ready to see what possibly going to be launch titles or future upcoming titles because that's really all they have left is the games to really announce at this point.
I think the craziest thing about that too, and it's so funny that you bring that up because I think the funniest thing is like all the games that are going to be launch titles on this console are games that have already come out. Yep. So everyone's going to get excited for games that they can play now, I guess 1080p, in handheld mode. But like these are games we probably already all played. Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tekken 8 is supposedly a launch title. A proper FIFA 25 title. Supposedly EA is fully on board this time, so we might be seeing Madden on the Switch too. There's a lot of these games. I mean, other than Nintendo games like Mario Kart 9, Metroid Prime 4, new 3D Mario, every big game, Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposedly also a launch title, which makes sense because Take-Two put Red Dead Redemption on the Switch just last year? I think last fall. They finally released Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, so why wouldn't you put Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch too? I mean, just obviously makes sense. Because there is two Take-Two SKUs. So actually I should go back and kind of reference what I'm talking about here, but there was this list which was GameStop, their database accidentally had a bunch of Switch 2 SKUs. Someone in the database got fired because there's a lot of stuff. We see 2 Bandai Namco SKUs. Wonder what games those are. I anticipate one of those games is absolutely Elden Ring. Both of them actually. Or no, someone told me on my Twitter, and they may be watching now. Those games most likely are Elden Ring and then Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. Those are those two, which is going to be huge. Yeah.
Do you think it's Sparking Zero? Because Sparking Zero is only on PS5 and Series X. It's not on PS4 Pro. Which was
but there's no reason why. Yeah, but there's no reason why it can't be on PS4 Pro. And like the thing is, like even Marvel Rivals that could run on a PS4. They're leaving that generation behind now. Yeah. I think Sony and Microsoft are like, hey, stop making shit on, Xbox One and on PS4 because we need to start, sales numbers need to go up. So, I think that's just a generational thing. I don't think it's necessarily like a limitation of the console or whatever.
Right. But yeah. So those are pretty much my thoughts on what's going on right now currently. What thinking there, Villain?
Yeah, I don't think it's as strange that they haven't said anything despite the leaks. I mean, these companies, they base everything they do on money and projections and timetables, and they're not going to change that because their shit starts getting leaked, especially one as big as Nintendo. I mean, yeah, to us and to the consumer, you'd think, yeah, you'd say something, but I mean, especially Nintendo, they don't give a fuck.
No,
But yeah, in terms of the console itself, I am very curious about that little sensor inside the Joy-Con, because I don't, with the way the Joy-Con is shaped, I wish I had my fucking Switch here. Like, what would you do with that? I think it might almost just be a sensor that detects whether the Joy-Con is fucking in the hole or not.
Right.
Because like the way you hold it, like what would you do with it? Like, because like pretend this
use it as a
Joy-Con.
mouse.
But like on what? I mean, if
there's people that have actually like recorded themselves using their current Switch Joy-Con as a mouse, and they're like, hey, it's not that bad. Take your Switch mouse, your Switch Joy-Con, flip it out, put it down, face down with the buttons facing upwards, and boom, you got a left click, right click. You got a whole bunch of input.
It wouldn't be face down though. It would be on its side like this because the sensor's right here. So you would, but what would you be?
It's only flat surface that the Joy-Con has.
Yeah, but you would be
everything else is grooved or has the buttons on it.
But you would be balancing it like this with your. That doesn't.
I mean, it didn't look too bad. It didn't look too bad in the video that I watched. So you know, actually, let me pop out my Joy-Con right now. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up on Twitter too if I see I can find it. Yeah, I could put both buttons, and then I have my finger also nicely placed on the Y button too, so you have an extra like scroll button. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean,
Switch
it might work.
to Joy-Con mouse. Let's see. There's got to be a video posted somewhere.
But also, I mean, would you have to be sitting at a desk to use it?
I guess you could be sitting anywhere. I would imagine you'd be able to.
Not with a mouse sensor like that. You'd have
there you go. Here we go. Let me put it on the stream.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to see what we're talking about.
This person's doing it. This person's doing it with the. It looks like they're doing it with the left Joy-Con. I was doing with the right Joy-Con.
Yeah, they're doing it with the left one in the right hand, which is.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird. I wouldn't do it that way personally, because like the way I'm doing it, I'm able to have both fingers on both trigger buttons, but I'm also able to use my thumb to put my finger on the Y button. They're using it on the back of like the ejector button, but I wouldn't do it that way.
That's a little weird.
That is.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is weird.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. We'll all know if we're right or wrong.
Nintendo's very gimmicky, man.
Right.
But that's like next. I mean, that's very niche gimmicky, though. Like, it's not something that you would sell a console on.
I think if it is real.
There's like 5 people that are excited about that. Like, right?
It depends on what it's used for. It depends, because like if it's used for like DS style controls, or if it's used for other things like, you know, Mario Maker or stuff like that.
A sensor like that has to be on a flat surface. Otherwise, I mean, just use the motion sensing in the controller itself.
The IR, yeah.
That. Yeah, but an IR sensor, it would have to be at least, if not flat, really close to whatever it's mousing on. And I
have wireless mice that I use all the time for various TVs that I have like mini PCs connected to, and I can put my mouse down on the couch and use it to navigate whatever. I mean, the optical sensor works fine.
Yeah, but we're all weirdos, right? Like, we all do weird shit like that. But like, your consumer, you know, the people Nintendo's kind of
it's time for them to become weirdos too, just like us.
Advertising. I mean, we'll see. I think that's probably just to detect whether or not
either that or some kind of like heartbeat sensor thing for like a Wii Fit style thing. That's the other thing that's been widely circulated to be what it is.
Yeah, I think that
Nintendo does have its weird Fit like series that they do, so maybe they're gonna do some kind of, you know,
I think that's
Switch Fit type thing.
Yeah, I think that's way more likely than any kind of mouse functionality. It's either if I was putting money on it, yeah, if I was putting money on it, it's either just to detect the little thingy in this Joy-Con in the hole, or it's something like what you just said, where it's like some kind of weird, strange sensor that you like flip around and it just like while you're, doing your fucking shit, right? So
yeah,
something like that. I don't see it being a mouse cursor, because again, they already have. If they do anything like that, I think they're just going to use the motion tech. Like why?
Yeah, no,
right?
it's possible. But like I think it's not like light pass through. I don't think it's something that detects when the Joy-Con is attached. I don't think it's anything like that. I think there's definitely some other use case for it.
I mean, if you're using magnets to stick it in there,
you can have electrically charged magnets.
Yeah, and there's no like. Because, I mean, you could have something that it impresses in it that tells it that the Joy-Con's in, but if you don't want to have that, you could just have a little sensor there that you pop in. It determines if it's in there. Pop it out. Okay, it's not going off. It's, to have as few little, like, moving parts as possible inside the hole and just keep it purely magnetic and elegant, you would probably just have a little sensor there instead of, like, something that, like, pushes in. I would think.
Not only that, but there's an actual like chip connection that physically goes from the console into the Joy-Con. So there's got to be a data connection there too. And it's like an 8-pin connector or some shit like that, or 12-pin connector. So
yeah, and so
I definitely think it's for something else. That's one of the things Nintendo has yet to reveal. That's one of the mysteries we still haven't really solved yet.
Yeah, I mean the software is the software. I mean that's it's going to be. I do think it does sound like there's going to be some social stuff, but it could be anything at this point. They do have a try. They didn't do anything with the Switch, oddly, but before that they had like the Weverse and like
they had the Miiverse. They had the Street Pass or something.
Yeah, Street Pass DS with the Switch. Yeah, so they may be trying to bring
that was
back.
DS, I think, right? Street Pass was DS, not Switch.
That's right.
Switch has nothing. Switch has
what
nothing.
I meant to say. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, Switch has absolutely no social features. Has the worst friend system ever.
Yeah, you can't have
online
friends.
is dog water.
So they may be trying to bring. I think that's a possibility.
But like, what do you think? Like, why would they go through this NSO playtest that was so weird and just like seemed to have all these thousands of people trying to connect to some type of like world building thing? People like said that it was kind of like Minecraft / the Sims style type thing. I mean, obviously it wasn't very graphically intensive, but it was it was like kind of Minecraft style blocky, but like it seemed like a very, very strong indication that they were doing something on their networking, their networking infrastructure backend. Because there's nothing else on that level or magnitude that Nintendo does on their online service that would even warrant anything like that. Like, they don't even host any kind of MMOs. Try to play Mario Kart online or Smash Brothers, you're always going to have horrible lag issues. So I do feel like we're going to be massive. And not only that, because Nintendo is just giving us a better Switch, there's got to be something else that Nintendo's doing that's going to wow us. They're not going to... I can't imagine that they're allowing these leaks to just proliferate at the magnitude that they've been, and they're not going to have anything crazy to show us. Like, if we're not wowed by the Switch 2, Nintendo's in fucking trouble.
No, I don't think so. I think if you just make a better Switch, you're fine. I saw an article the other day that said that, if the Switch 2 is just a better Switch, I'm going to be sad. And I'm like, why? Like,
that is true too. That is true too. I thought that was stupid. I thought that was stupid. It's just a better PS4. Exactly.
100%. I mean, if the Switch works, if you love your Switch, why wouldn't you just want a better one? I think
you're right in that sense, but at the same time, I do think that Nintendo losing control of the messaging and not having control of the narrative of what's gonna, like, I just feel like Nintendo must still feel like they have a good hand to play in revealing the system, because if people know everything about it, or even know a good majority of the things about it, that hype is going to die down. So people are saying a bunch of things.
But it's like I said, right at the beginning of this, it's like, when someone's like, I'm gonna go get a Switch or that new Zelda game comes out, are they really gonna think like, oh man, the system was spoiled for me early, and I don't know, man.
No.
I don't want that thing anymore. So will it really affect anything? I mean, yeah, it may take some of the wind out of the reveal, but I mean, who cares, right? At the end of the day,
it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah,
is it gonna sell? Is it gonna sell? Yeah, you think so? You think that this thing is just gonna sell like crazy out of the gate? I do think you're gonna have some FOMO, but even the Wii U kind of had a. That's the thing. So there's a few other leaks we haven't talked about, and
we'll get into that, of course, because I figured you had more information.
Yeah, so there's a whole other batch of stuff that just came out practically today, and that one of those things was that Microsoft has a developer conference on January 23rd, and rumor has it Master Chief is coming to Nintendo,
the old
as
Chief,
well as PlayStation.
Oh, is it PlayStation 2 on the rumor for the same? Is it the Chief Collection? Probably,
I believe it's the Master Chief Collection, yeah. And and also Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming to the Switch too, supposedly. So
let me look that up.
That's not a real thing. Just with like how much
Flight Simulator? Yeah, I agree. But Master Chief Collection, I think would definitely.
It's coming to PlayStation and Nintendo.
That's so weird. Like that's like been Microsoft's one thing. They're like that's our one thing we've always had that no one else has.
Well, I mean, our last episode we kind of did talk about the state of Xbox.
Yeah. If it's the Master Chief Collection and it's 60 frames on the Switch too, I might play the fuck out of some Halo on the Switch too. It just revisits those like old campaigns and stuff. I don't know. I would have to see because I mean those are really good on the PC and the Xbox Series X, like 4K, 60, beautiful cutscenes, and so if they can get it most of the way there with 60 frames a second on the Switch too, your boy might be replaying some Halo games. Co-op with the boys if y'all want to jump in, you know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine I would literally be so. If I get a Switch too, we could just like do like Halo playthroughs and like play co-op and stuff. Oh my god, that would be so good.
Dude,
but yeah, I mean,
totally do it.
Oh, me too, 100%.
If it's Microsoft, it'll be cross-play too, like straight up. That's 100%. One thing they're very good at. Yeah, cross-save, cross-play, everything. So, that would be great. So
yeah, I definitely think that's what's gonna happen. It's surprising, but that news did come out. I think today. I think actually it came out today or yesterday.
My PC literally just beeped and said Xbox update available.
Oh no!
It's not totally not listening. Totally not. What do you have? A Kinect? Xbox on? Yeah. Jeez.
Well, it's the Xbox app, I think, on my PC. But yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's such a garbage app too.
It's such horrible. I'm looking at it right now. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's never been good. It's never been good.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
but this is just interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just about to ask you about like just a follow up. You know, like what else do you have for us on this particular topic?
Oh, quite a bit.
Oh no, yeah, we're probably halfway done.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I did want to kind of also touch a little bit on what Nate the Hate. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's in the Nintendo space and he has inside sources and stuff.
Is he your arch nemesis or is that a different guy?
No.
Next Gaming. That's who it is.
Yeah. Oh, Next Handheld is is the arch nemesis. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Nate the Hate. We never interacted with him, but he's a cool cat. Whatever. He has a podcast, and that came out, I believe, today. And a lot of the rumblings that came out of that podcast was that he said that Remake is a launch title for the Switch 2, which is interesting. But that was a PS4 game, right? That was a PS4 game. So, like, if it has the power of a PS4, it should be able to run Remake, right?
I think it's doable, yeah. I think it's doable. Yeah. I just wonder if Sony is, like, if that contract's up yet, is my only question. But it could be. It could be.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know why Nintendo want to, punish their console with that game.
But the funny thing is, so they said that Remake's coming out as a launch title, which would be fucking insane just on its face value alone. Then they went ahead and said, Nate said that Rebirth is coming in 2026. Now, how would that be possible? How could the Switch 2, like, I feel like that, and Nate is a very credible person in the community. So for him to go out and say this and put his own credibility out there is very strange. So he must have very, very high degree of confidence that this is true.
I will tell you in one word. Cloud.
You think it's going to be a cloud version? That's interesting.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts on the Switch is only on cloud.
Really? I didn't know.
Yes, that is true. And so is Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, you cannot get a native version of Kingdom Hearts on Switch right now,
that is correct.
Dumb. So either cloud or the upscaling works really well. Because the thing is, on a Switch, you're probably on the, you're doing probably a really low resolution and then upscaling it with DLSS. So you could conceivably, and if you take a game, scale back all the graphics features, put it all on low, and then do a low resolution, DLSS it up, you can probably squeeze 30 frames out of, as long, because you're going to be CPU bottlenecked. So as long as the CPU, although the Switch chip is a CPU and GPU in one, but as long as that can handle the CPU processes, which I don't know that Final Fantasy games are CPU heavy, you should be fine. It's going to be ugly as fuck, but it should be
That's
playable.
what I'm wondering.
It's going to be ugly as shit.
Is it going to be ugly as shit?
Yeah, did you see the PS5 version before the Pro update? It's going to be ugly as fuck.
Yeah,
really?
I was
going to be fuzzy.
I was thinking that with Rebirth, if that's going to be a thing, it's going to be downscaled quite a bit. And I was also thinking I wasn't thinking about cloud streaming, but it might have some upscaling.
Remember, they put The Witcher 3 on the Switch. They put The Witcher 3 on the Switch.
I think what you're going to see, here's a prediction from me that I don't know if anyone else has predicted, but I think you're going to see a much better internet chip in the Switch, and they're going to lean a lot heavier into game streaming. And so I think you're going to see a lot more cloud-only titles on the Switch.
I think people would be so pissed at that, though.
They would.
Yeah, that would suck.
But I don't think Nintendo main games will be that way. I think those will always be native experiences. But third-party games, I don't think people will care that much. You may even have a fucking cloud version of Red Dead. I don't know. But what they may do is they may offer a native and a cloud version side by side and kind of ease people into it, and then be like, well, this one's cloud only, because they're already doing cloud only. They already have cloud only games on the Switch.
The two big games that are cloud only on the Switch, which is Kingdom Hearts and Resident Evil Village, they didn't sell well because they're cloud only. So
absolutely, yeah, they're not going to sell well. But to have it on the accounts, it'll sell something, But
I just feel like they're Square Enix is the only reason why Square Enix is going to make shit for the Switch is because they know it's going to sell really well. They just released Dragon Quest HD 2D, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D on the Switch, and it sold a fucking million copies in a month. So that's the kind of shit that Nintendo needs to do for Square Enix. That's the only reason why they're going to put their big software like that, flagship software.
Isn't go ahead.
I was going to say this, that what would be really interesting is that if the 7 remake and Rebirth are going to be on the console, it'd be like the first time a modern Final Fantasy game was on a Nintendo console in
forever.
Decades.
That's why that alone I feel like is such huge news. Nintendo's always been on the back burner since the N64 days to get a flagship Final Fantasy. In fact, no flagship Final Fantasies, I believe, have been on any Nintendo system. So this would be huge. If remake comes out and then and then they release Rebirth in 2026, that'd only be 2 years after that game was released, which is the same distance that you get from PS5 exclusives to PC nowadays, which people gladly don't give a fuck about. So that is very interesting.
I think this is more though Square Enix interesting news than Nintendo, because I think you're going to see a lot of Xbox announcements alongside this, because they've already made it very clear that they really want to get off PlayStation, or not off, but out of the exclusive, because Xbox has only had 13 and 15, and so I don't even think they got the Pixel remasters, did they? Or did they? Were those on Game Pass?
I think Square Enix is also announcing. I mean, this feels like Nintendo news from Square Enix, but I think they're also going to cross announce this shit on Xbox as well.
Yeah, I think it's coming to Xbox
because it's already a lot of that shit's already coming to PC. Yeah.
Now Sony could have made which they have made deals like this before, where it's like in the contract it says not on Xbox specifically for so many years. So it could be Sony. That the contract is up for the Switch and PC, but Xbox is in perpetuity. You know?
Yeah, so, exactly. I think though, like everything seems to be lining up with Xbox's developer conference on the 23rd. I think that and we talked about this in the last episode. The writing is pretty much on the wall that that Microsoft is kind of going third party. It just kind of makes sense. It's kind of crazy that we're gonna see Halo and like modern Final Fantasies on a Nintendo system, but the fact that Nintendo's getting all this third party support now, like, so you went from the Wii U to the Switch. A lot of companies did not believe the Switch. A lot of people thought Nintendo was done prior to the Switch coming out. Right. There was a lot of rumors that Nintendo was going to go third party. They were going to start making mobile games or start releasing their games on other platforms. The Switch was a fucking unimaginably amazing success, especially after the miss that was the Wii U. And the fact that they have this huge install base and they have all of this shit now. Back then, EA didn't come forward with putting like Madden and stuff. You know, you can't get Call of Duty games. Bethesda and Activision, they don't necessarily have their games. They're all going to be behind the Switch 2 now. They're all going to have their software on there. And it really puts Nintendo in a very particular precarious situation in just the gaming space in general. Because I feel like you're really only going to have now Nintendo and Sony again. Microsoft is going to be kind of just putting their software anywhere. Nothing's being an Xbox kid is not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, we had the funeral last time.
Yeah, we had that funeral. So that's why I feel like if Nintendo does have this Vimeo application, it's going to fill that void that a lot of people that liked Xbox Live environment is going to be like. So that's going to be interesting. And not only that, these kids love TikTok brain rot. So if Nintendo's going to try to like go the brain rot route and just like have like crazy clips of like people playing Nintendo games on there, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a huge thing. The other pieces of it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to kind of add on to that. Like, I think that like, I mean, I don't want to be a negative person, but I am. But I think that it's going to be a lot of stuff that the Switch should have had 6 years ago. It gets announced that Nintendo family are
so
really hype up. They're gonna be like, yes, this is so cool and awesome. And it's the gimmick. It's the gimmick, but it's just shit that they should have. It's social features. You can finally send friend requests. It might be like a cool little social thing, but it's like. Yeah, I think they might do some little nifty thing. It's just, but it's gonna be like, man, you're catching up.
I agree.
10 years ago, and I mean it's gonna be great to have. It's gonna be.
It reminds me a lot of like the Apple ecosystem where people were like finally happy they could have like live wallpapers and shit. And it's like that shit's old news, man. But like that's the thing, like. It is still something special though about a Nintendo console, regardless if it's fucking like 2 generations old power wise, struggling to run. The fact that Nintendo is doing this and they have this DLSS shit, I'm just so fucking I'm so psyched and so hyped to see what this thing can do. I love the Switch. The Switch, I'm playing Persona 5 on the Switch. It is bad when you play it docked on a TV. It is bad. Like it's a blurry fucking mess. Bad. But in handheld mode, it is so much more palatable. It's so much. I can actually like deal with it. Mm-hmm. And that's fine because I'm playing it on the fucking bed or on the couch. I can take that with me on the train to work. I can play that at the doctor's office. Like there's a huge value in that. Obviously, this thing sold 140 million units around the planet.
Yeah, I love this Switch. It's great.
Yeah. So the thing, Nintendo's doing something right. But the thing that's really fucking crazy, if this is true, so the biggest, I think we'll cap it off with this piece. This is the latest piece. It's probably other things I missed. I had a whole outline. I know I'm taking up a lot of time. I'm going to try to wrap this up here. I'm going to try to put a little bow on this. But basically, the last piece of information that we had was another drop. I saw it being proliferated everywhere. I kind of posted it blind saying, hey, this is just like some fucking random Discord snapshot or screenshot. What is this about? So the guy says, someone in Discord, I don't know if this is their actual name or not, but Average Lucia Fanatic said, I have a date for y'all, 17th of January, 2025. Launch day is March 3rd. Launch titles are Mario Kart 9, Red Dead Redemption 2, and an announcement for a trailer for a 3D Mario. Retail price in Canada is $400, which means that it's going to be $350 US. Which is fucking crazy if that's true.
No, I believe it though. I think I believe that. I do think I believe that. Because think about how old the technology is. Think about,
Well, that's the thing. If all this 8 nanometer, node is correct, and this is like 2018, 2020 technology, bro, and the Switch 2 has been cooking in the oven for quite some time, maybe this is going to be cheap.
This thing is $350. They're going to sell.
It's done. It's game over.
Fucking much. I honestly, I think it's going to be 400. I think they do
that
even
seems
400.
That's what everyone thought, But is Nintendo like going to say fuck it? We'll do it live.
I hope so, dude. I'll buy 2 of them. I won't buy 2, but yeah, dude, it's gonna fly off if it's 300. It's gonna pop the fuck off. That's what I was gonna hit on earlier was the price, and I think the price really determines how well. If it comes in at 500, I think you lose a lot of people.
There's no way they're going to sell it for 500.
Yeah, straight off.
No, Nintendo likes cheap.
If you do 400, you get you get your solid, 10 million fucking units in 2 years type situation.
Yep.
If you do 350,
it's game over.
It's like 5 million in years.
I'm gonna have to take a baseball bat to the store to beat people off to beat my way to a Switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're gonna start going teams, go 10 deep to fucking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the scalping obviously will be fucking insane. Unfortunately, you probably won't be able to get your hands on this thing for $350, even if it was true.
I hope they've built up enough stock to stop scalping, because another one of the big rumors that I heard early on was that Nintendo had a lot of measures in place this time to have more stock available. So I hope that's true.
Well, that's the other thing, is that they've been mass producing this thing supposedly for like the last
for a while.
8-9 months. Pretty much since all of 2024.
Yeah, if they make a good if they ship a good 10 million units, I think we're fine. I think we can all get one. We can all be happy. The website will probably sell out, but you can probably find them at your local store on launch day type situation.
Right.
You may have to get one from Walmart, perhaps, but you'll be able to find one.
Yeah.
I think if they do that. Now they could fucking say, you know what, guys, for some reason we only think we're going to sell 2 million of these things. Ship it. And, oh no, what happened?
Well, everyone's complaining that there's scarcity. Why?
Yeah, so you just never know. But I think we'll be okay. I mean, the PS5 Pro was fine. It came out fine. Well, it sold really well. I know
the
it's
PS5 Pro is a whole other issue.
Yeah, but
I think it's a $250 price tag. So,
but I think it's a I think that if they follow a similar, because they made enough of them, that thing could have easily sold out. But they made it, so if they make enough of them, I think we'll be fine. And I think they will.
Well,
so
I do think they have a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 mass produced. I do.
Mm-hmm.
They probably do, and I'm thinking back on the pricing. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they want it to be $350 retail, because Nintendo also always tries to be a bit more on the affordable side for the sheer fact that they view their consoles as toys, not a video game console. They're toys, so they want them to be bought, especially
there's lore to that.
For the most part. Yeah, so yeah, 350 probably sounds right, because when the Switch came out, it was like 300. So I feel like with inflation and everything, that sounds like the right price tag.
Yeah, but the OLED's 350 though. So where does that go? So if that is true, and the Switch 2 is going to come out at 350, then you're going to have to price cut whatever OG Switch inventory that you have.
That's true,
which actually could be the strat too.
But 350 what I paid for this Switch OLED.
Okay. 350. It's 349 for Switch OLED.
Okay. You know, for the Switch 2 starting out, it isn't going to be an OLED screen, which I'm a little disappointed in that.
But the screen is still going to be high quality.
OLED Switch 2, and then they can sell that for $400. So,
they're going to sell an OLED for $400.
That could be true, but I think that you're going to also, first of all, they're going to stop producing original Switch units. They've produced it for 8 years. It's the longest Nintendo generation ever, 8-year console generation. So they're going to, my guess, and I obviously could be wrong. I'm no expert in any of this, but I think it just makes stupid business sense to clear out your entire inventory of Switches, your Switch Lights. Well, they could probably still manufacture the Switch Lite, but like all of your regular Switches, the main Switch SKU and the OLED SKU, cut the price by $50 on both models, get rid of that stock, and then start replacing it over time with the Switch 2. That to me, because the Switch 2 is going to be 100% backwards compatible with anything the Switch 1 did anyway. And then
we don't know that just yet. Hopefully, it's going to be. That is something I wanted to bring up. It's like I really hope it's going to be backwards compatible because like it
is.
Okay,
that's
it better be because
Nintendo themselves confirmed that.
They confirmed that. Okay, so that's good because I mean they're going to be pretty similar. I mean, kind of like how a Wii and Wii U was, and like even from a Wii U to the Switch,
GameCube,
yeah. Like it should be all compatible. So
it definitely will be, and they're using a new faster SSD like micro SD cards, which are really cool for expandable storage. And then on top of that, the new Switch 2 carts are basically the same exact thing, same form factor as a Switch cartridge, but they have a little nub or notch at the end, so that way you can't take a Switch 2 cart and put it into a Switch 1. So essentially, you'll be able to just pop in a Switch 1 cart into a Switch 2 without a problem. But then that notch will prevent you from putting a Switch. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's gonna be 100% backwards compatible.
Oh man, that sounds like what they did for region locking for the Super Nintendo.
It doesn't it? It does. It's such a Nintendo thing. It's such a Nintendo fucking thing. It's so true. Little notches, prevent the whole world from putting something. Yeah, we're never gonna cut those notches off, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just to let everybody know what I'm talking about. And with the US or Super Nintendo, if you wanted it to be a region-free Super Nintendo, all you had to do was have a pair of pliers, go into that socket, pull out some tabs, you play any Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I was gonna see if I could find a little picture of that. What you basically had to do that. It was so easy.
Yeah.
But
it was actually a pretty interesting way that they thought to like region lock stuff. But at the same time, it's like
I know
easy workaround.
Yeah, I know.
No,
so true.
I think this thing's gonna be great, especially at 350. Because I was sitting there thinking like 500, honestly.
No,
like
there's
for
no
a
way.
while. Because it's just the environment we live in, right? So 350 would be fucking wild. Honestly, I think it's going to be 400. I know people are saying 350.
400 was what everyone was expecting.
Yeah, and
everyone was expecting 400.
Yeah.
This guy came. Did I give you guys the context? Did I say why this person's opinion fucking matters? I don't think I did. So the reason why we're even listening to this fucking dude in the first place, and I wanted to say this before I forgot, this guy supposedly accurately leaked the Switch, the PS5 Pro. He actually was, so he's got credibility, quote unquote, because he's 1 for 1 on a major leak. So is this guy full of shit? We don't know. Yeah, and he's batting 1,000. So is this going to be legit? Is all this shit real? Who knows? But this would actually be wild if it was true.
Yeah. I'll say the PS5 Pro, if that's his only leak, isn't that impressive. I leaked it when they announced the PS5 because I knew they would do one. Like of course they would. They did a PS4 Pro, right? So
right
now, if he leaked like specifics about it, that's a little more interesting. But if the leak was just there's going to be one, it's like, well, duh. I would put my name on that. day one of the PS5. The moment the PS5, I'd be like, I'm leaking right now. Put my name on it. PS5 Pro coming. Coming. When the PS6 comes out, I'm gonna put my name on it. PS6 Pro coming. I'll leak it right now. Right now. Coming.
2 years. It's gonna happen 2 years. I guarantee it.
About 2.5 years. Between 2.5 and 3 years, the PS6 Pro will come out after the PS6.
Supposedly they're already cooking the PS4. I mean, the PS6 is already in the kitchen cooking up already at Sony. So.
Yeah. That's. I mean, they do that immediately after. Yeah, they start planning console. It takes them years to like put together a console.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why people have been complaining.
Oh man, Monarch the Mad just leaked the PS6.
Oh, damn.
In the chat. Oh my god,
it will come out at some point in the future.
Shit.
It'll be
Holy
eventually.
shit, Monarch just leaked
somewhere.
the fucking PS6. Oh my god. Holy fuck. That's insane.
Yeah. But this is interesting. Yeah. So this is just interesting that this person's putting their hat into the ring. Yeah, but
no,
I think we're oversaturated. Yeah, we're oversaturated with the leaks right now anyway. So
I'm being a negative guy, but like it's not nothing. It's not the most impressive leak to me. If there had not been a PS4 Pro, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty interesting. But I mean, we all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming.
No, it's not that he just said like it was coming out. Like he actually like accurately predicted when it came out, like the day it was going to be revealed. Like he had some industry knowledge somehow, some way. Okay, so it's not like he's just like I predicted one day in the future. It wasn't that vague of a leak. But like just like this leak, this guy is giving very specific stuff. He's saying January 17th, March 3rd launch day. Which that was another short thing I wanted to talk about. That's a part of this thing is that I've never seen a console get revealed in January and then release in March. That is the shortest announcement to launch window I've ever fucking seen. So what the hell? No console has done that before. None.
How many months is that? 3?
That's barely 2.
2.
Because
the shortest.
That's a little over 2 months. Yeah.
So I know because I know like the PS5 came out like 5 months or something after it was announced.
Well, it's not as short as what Sega did with the Saturn. They're like, hey, it's available today. What?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that actually is true. Saturn did have that, but Saturn's now is just like a footnote in history, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did not do well. But you got Virtua Fighter, man. Oh, that Virtua Fighter, bro.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter. That was such a big thing. But
it was. I mean,
this is
a big leap for fighting games, actually.
It was. Just seeing that, I remember back in the 90s blew my mind.
That was a little longer out than I thought.
6 months is usually kind of, I think the Switch was announced in October of 2016, came out in March of 2017. 6 months is a normal industry standard movement from announcement to when it's on your store shelves. 2 months though, that's fucking crazy.
Now the PS5 Pro was announced 2 months before it came out.
Yeah, but that's not entirely. It's a mid-generation upgrade.
But again, but it wouldn't really be too surprising to me because again, like if it's been true with the rumor that basically for like a whole year, they've been just basically sitting on the Switch 2 and just like mass producing them and everything. I mean, if it's been ready to go for forever at this point, it'd make total sense if they like announce it and then like less than 2 months later you got your console.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be online at the Nintendo store in New York City to pick one up. I mean, if that's the case, and if it's $350, I'm assuming I won't be alone. I'll be there with hundreds and hundreds of other people.
Bring your weapon.
Yeah,
you do not want to walk out of that store with that console. Yeah, so it's gonna be a wild time. But yeah, I think that's really the crux. The thing is, if this date of January 17th does end up being true, the next time we have our podcast episode, the Switch probably will be revealed. So I'm thinking that I think we're 100% getting a reveal this month. So just a matter of time, and I think we only have one episode left. Actually, how many episodes left in January do we have? We have this one, the next one, and then we have one episode left in January. So our next episode will probably be just looking at what was true and what wasn't true. But it is going to be a very interesting thing to see. So we're crossing the Rubicon, as they say. right now.
Nintendo denies leaked footage as not official.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up. I did. It's in one of our tweets. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. They basically said like that shit's not official, and then all of a sudden Genki also said, "Oh no, we don't have a real Switch 2. It was a mock-up." That people retracted some shit. I think some lawyer shit happened. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I think someone got a cease and desist. Yeah, like yo, you can't do that, bro. Yeah, who knows why this all happened in the first place? Like, they must have had an NDA that expired, that they were supposed to be able to, you know, showcase this stuff at CES. Nintendo must have delayed the Switch 2 release at some point, and NDAs lapsed out or something like that. Something crazy, but stupid, easily explanation, Occam's razor kind of thing.
Because like the way that they happened at the CES and everything with these Joy-Cons, with Genki and stuff, it kind of reminds me like how people found out about the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remasters before they even came out. There actually was not an announcement, but at a comic convention, Dark Horse Comics I just had some figurines, and it said Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remaster. And that's what they were promoting and stuff. I was like, whoa, oh, okay. And then like a couple months afterwards, they announced it. So it could be one of those situations. But Dark Horse Comics didn't. They didn't get a cease and desist, unfortunately.
Exactly. This stuff is all going to change over the next couple of days. I do anticipate some crazy ass shit happening in the next couple of days anyway. Every day has been kind of like Christmas when it comes to these Switch leaks. So, everyone knows it's kind of like what I've made it my whole personality right now. So I might as well just just own it.
I am the Switch.
It's fine. I do apologize to our viewers who had to bear through that. But yeah, it's. I think this is super exciting. I mean, we've had the Switch for 8 years. We can't wait to see what Nintendo has in store for us. I hate being a corporate simp, but there is something about Nintendo that makes them special. They've been around 100 fucking plus years. They are a special company. I hold them in high regard. I stuck with that company since I was a child, so I do have some type of synergistic feeling towards them because of like the impact they've had on my life throughout my life. But at the end of the day, it's nice to see Nintendo finally getting a W, especially being a Nintendo 64 kid, having no RPGs to play, GameCube. It was a little bit better than the N64, but it was still a massive disappointment. To the Wii, which was like, what the fuck is the Wii? But everyone loved it anyway. To the DS, to all that shit. Nintendo's just a special company. So I do think that this is a pivotal point in history for us. This is going to probably be studied by the gaming historians at some point in the future as to how this all happened. What was the was there corporate sabotage? Was there supply chain leaks? Like, it's going to be a crazy story at the end of the day, but this is all about gaming, and gaming is just the thing that we all love, and we all love Nintendo. I mean, I don't really, I know a lot of people have issues with Nintendo, including myself, but I think to some degree, everyone has like some level of love for Nintendo. Even if you're like, Nintendo's for kids and babies, Nintendo does have that very, very special place in the gaming space. So I think it's worth covering.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new console, so it's very exciting. Because it's something that you're gonna get, and we're gonna have for like the next, 8 years. And also with it comes new games, and honestly, I mean, the console's not very exciting to me, like just from a hardware standpoint, but Nintendo is really one of the few doing anything exciting with video games, because with the game, it's like, well, what are they going to announce? Obviously there's going to be Mario Kart, like
new Nintendo, new 3D Mario,
Yeah, but they always
something's got to punch back at Astrobot.
Yeah. And so, I'm just a hater, right? And so I can sound negative, but I'm excited for it. I am. And I can see why people are getting excited over the leaks and just wanting Nintendo to just, be done. Zero, come on, buddy. Chill.
Oh, man. We got another Nintendo fan over there.
Yeah. And that was Zero. But yeah, and, he made me lose my train of thought. But you know, I'm excited. Everyone's excited. I think that, and there's good
We're
reason
all
to
excited.
be.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all excited. I just think they just need to.
Nintendo hasn't come out of the console in 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on and
exactly.
announce it, get it out. I think the $350 price point's potentially exciting.
Do you guys have any?
That's the best for last situation. Yeah, that's the best for last situation because that's the first thing that like got me genuinely excited on the leaks. It was like 350. Wait a minute.
Yeah, me too. That's why I'm like that one's a little. That's why I was like that's a little too unbelievable for me. Unless there's a massive price cut along the line, but with inflation being the way that it is, I can't see it happening. It would be crazy. It would be a crazy. It would be a diabolical move.
It's got to be $399. I bet you his leak is probably accurate at one time. I think that maybe it was shooting for 350, but I want to say it's 400. I mean, I'll be happy to be wrong though. I will be more than happy to be wrong. Because 350 is great. I don't even have to think about buying a $350.
400 would be the most expensive Nintendo console of all time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because like the PS5 Pro gives me a little pause. It's like $700, goddamn. But 350, I won't even think about.
I know, right? And that's what I'm wondering too. Like that would be a crazy strategy because people would literally just gobble this thing up. You know?
Yeah. And I think the other thing they should do too, and probably will do, is they should come out with that. Honestly, what I wish they would do is I wish they would do a 350 standard, a 400 OLED, and then drop the standard Switch down to like do a standard like
Nintendo.
Take the standard one, drop that bitch to 150, and call it a fucking day.
Right.
Like fucking let those fly off the shelf. I mean, you know, you got a little kid, they don't need the Switch 2.
I do think you guys are onto something with that 400 OLED down the line. I think that will happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know it'll happen.
It worked well for the original Switch.
Yeah,
that's their mid-gen refresh. It's just a slap an OLED on it.
No, put this shit on Twitter. I'm leaking it. The Switch OLED will be a thing. I just wish they would do it at launch because I just want to get it and be done with. I'll pay the extra.
I'm wondering if them putting an LCD over an OLED is the reason why they can get to 350 instead of 400, which would be fucking wild.
They wouldn't get to 350 with an OLED for sure, especially at 8-inch one.
Yeah, it'd have to be 400 if it was an OLED.
Yeah. So maybe the 350 thing could be real. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with an LCD for sure. But yeah, I wish they would just come out with the expensive SKU straight away. Just do it. I mean, because there's people who would buy it. Me. Yeah. All three of us actually. And but yeah, we wouldn't double dip, right? And they want us to double dip.
They want us to double dip, 100% want us to double dip and triple dip and quadruple dip. They'll release special editions based on certain IP. We'll all own 5 Switch 2s. Probably 3 boxes that we've never opened before.
So that would not be me.
I was about to say like I will only have one. Yeah, I
own 3 Switches. Actually, I got rid of my Switch 5, but
the only reason I have an OLED is because I just got rid of my Switch at one time because I was like, I just don't care about this.
I'm also a collector, so that's also another thing. I'm a physical hardware collector too.
Yeah, I gave it to a friend of mine for their kid, and
yeah.
I was like, you can just have this. I don't want it. I don't care about this. And then one day
I'll never use it again.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of want to Switch again, and so I went to the store and I was like, oh yeah, they got that OLED one. Let me get that, and I bought it.
That Switch that you got rid of, what version was that? Was that like an OG original?
Yeah, it was the OG gray one. Yeah.
When did you buy it? 2017.
Yeah, it was the first month.
Those Switches are so valuable because they're hackable.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Shout out to the person that has it.
Yeah.
Shout out to that like 7-year-old kid.
That's never going to use any of the features that it can possibly be on.
And then I had and then I also there's an in between there where I bought the limited edition Pokemon Switch Lite, and I have that in a box somewhere. Collecting dust. I do have that. So, and then I bought the OLED.
Yeah, I ended up getting an OLED because I'm a simp for Zelda, and I wanted the.
I love my OLED.
I specifically have not played Tears of the Kingdom because I want the 60 frame Switch 2 version.
Oh,
Like
well,
I literally refused to play it till because I knew because I'm a leak this right now.
supposedly upgrades for games will be free on the Switch too. Supposedly.
Well, that's
They're not
fine.
gonna
That's your
charge
leak.
you.
That's your leak. I'm leaking this. There will be on launch day or shortly thereafter a upgraded version of Tears of the Kingdom that runs at 60 frames per second, and I'm gonna play that.
Oh man,
one.
you know that would oh my god, that would be so beautiful to play that game at a solid 60 frames per second.
Throw it on Twitter. I'm leaking.
There's 100 Switch 2 dev kits existed when Tears of the Kingdom was being developed, so it's 100% sure it's going to be some crazy upgrade patch that's going to make it play amazing. I can't wait for that.
I'm waiting for that because I liked Breath of the Wild a lot, but that game, it looked like shit. It played like shit. It was just from a visual, like you went to the forest, you could see that resolution scale go down to like 100p. Like it was
my god.
bad. And it barely maintained 30 frames. That thing was so ugly. I thought everyone's like, this game's so beautiful. It wasn't. That game was fucking ugly. And like, if it ran at a proper resolution and
that's a hot take, by the way. You're gonna have a lot of people hitting you up on Twitter now. Post up.
I don't give a fuck. I barely look at Twitter.
The Zelda bots are gonna go crazy.
But no, like now, if it ran at a proper resolution and frame rate, it would be a beautiful game for sure. But like, it didn't.
Absolutely.
Go play. Load up Breath of the Wild. Go to the forest. Do it. It's fucking ugly. It's pixelated.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
a Wii U game at the end of the day.
And I'm sure Tears of the Kingdom is exactly the same. You go Lord Tears of the Kingdom, go to the forest. It gets pixelated. It gets 20 frames a second. It's ugly. I'm sure. Yeah, but now, and I didn't want to do it again. So when the Switch 2 version comes out and it's a full, probably 720p upscaled, but 60 frames, it'll be beautiful, and I'll play it.
It's gonna be heavily relying on DLSS magic, but yeah. It will.
I don't know. It may be powerful enough to get Tears of the Kingdom up to a native resolution, like a 1080p.
We didn't even talk about the dock output power, because like the regular Switch, I think only puts out like 39 watts or something like that, and the new Switch 2 dock is going to be outputting 60 watts. So really? I definitely think you're going to we could be seeing 4K upscaling, DLSS upscaling on this thing. It's quite possible.
Yeah, definitely upscaling. You're never going to get a native 4K on.
No, you're not. Yeah, it's a mobile device. You're going
to get a 1080p upscale, probably 720p.
Depending on whether you're handheld.
I don't know if they'll go 4K.
You don't think so?
I think they'll go 2.
They'll do 1440. Yeah, I don't think you'll see a 4K up. Maybe on a certain games, but I don't even know if it'll be capable. I think it'll be 1440. I'm with Kai on this one. 4K is such
it's gonna be so interesting to see.
I mean, think about how few PS5 games hit 4K.
Yep, like none.
Think about
that's
like
actually
none.
a good point.
There are indie games that hit.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, how much shit is actually hitting 4K?
Yeah, there's maybe 3 PS5 games that hit native 4K.
And PS5 used to have 8K on the box. They took that shit off too.
Yep, there's also very few PS4 games that hit upscaled 4K. They'll sometimes upscale to like 1440p and shit, and won't even try to upscale to 4K. So I think that's I think Nintendo. I'll say this for you. I think they might advertise. It's the same way that PS5 advertised 8K.
That's possible.
Because PS5 had 8K on the box, right?
I know they took that shit off though.
Yeah, so I think
that's
Nintendo
just not on there no more.
Yeah, I think they might put 4K
capable.
On the box. Yeah, because you might be able to watch Netflix at 4K, maybe.
Oh,
on it. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
Again, I'm just trying to throw you a bone on that, but I don't think we see 4K at all on it. But I do think this is a leak, like I said. Upscaled, upgraded Tears of the Kingdom, and that's the only way I want to play it. So that's how I'm gonna play it. And so I and it sucks because I really liked Breath of the Wild. So I'm excited to.
Did you beat Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I beat Breath of the Wild. Yeah. I thought the ending was a little, but the journey was what mattered in that game. And
right.
So,
exactly.
And it was great. And again, but that might be my launch day game if they have the upgrade. I might not, I might buy Breath. I think
I think basically Tears of the Kingdom is sort of a semi cross-gen game, and Metroid Prime 4 is also, I think, gonna have a massive visual upgrade too on the Switch, because it's gonna come out on the Switch. So, and it's going to come out when the Switch 2 is coming out. So obviously, I think that you're going to see massive like performance boosts on some of these games.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom and Metroid Prime 4.
And I'm gonna have to get Mario Kart, because I'm sure we'll have server night with some fucking Mario Kart 9.
I can't wait for that. Mario Kart 9. Oh man, I think a few different things about that. I think I've
heard that. I heard Mario Kart 9 like 2 years ago for this thing. Like,
it makes sense.
Coming out.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, what Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game.
Yeah.
It's over 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's time for a leap in the next version.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. Jamboree. Yes, Rain.
Oh, Jamboree.
Yeah, sorry to break protocol, but like, yeah, Jamboree's great. It's fantastic.
I love Jamboree.
Yeah, but
We've done that a couple of times.
People. It makes you hate people.
That's
It's
true.
horrible.
That
is just Mario Party.
It's just the game that ruins friendships. That's what it does.
Well, I had never played Mario Party until Jamboree. Yeah, listen, I'm not a Nintendo guy. Like,
Remember, he's an Xbox kid.
Yeah, I had a DS. I had an
the DS was so good.
The consoles I've had a N64. I've had a Game Boy Advance. I've had a Game Boy SP.
Not a Nintendo kid.
Yeah, I had, and then skip forward, I had a DS, a 2DS, and then I had a Switch.
Damn, that's a lot.
So
that's a lot of Nintendo shit.
No,
that's a lot of Nintendo shit.
There's Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, Wii U.
It's also
yeah,
but you played a lot of important Nintendo consoles, like for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's quite a handful.
But
I
also,
wouldn't say I'm not a Nintendo kid. I mean, obviously, your main console was Xbox, but yeah, that's still a lot of Nintendo shit.
I had well, it sounds like a lot when listed in that order, but like, you know, I barely played my DS at all. I played Pokemon on it, and that was it. Yeah, I only played, I think, I tried a Metroid game, the one Hunters, I think. I hated it.
Like a one-issue voter, you're a one game system holder.
I bought the DS and the 2DS just for Pokemon.
That's crazy. I believe it though. I believe it.
I played I played a few other things. I played the DS version of Smash Brothers, and it was terrible. Performance wise and screen wise, like it was horrible to try. I mean, I respect the effort, but yeah, you got to remember, like, I didn't play much of anything on these things too. Well, when I was a kid, I played the fuck out of my Game Boy Advance. I did. I played
Game Boy Advance was so good, man. You know, I don't think you might have been too young, but that upgrade from Game Boy to Game Boy Advance was fucking huge.
No,
because Game Boy was from 1989 all the way up. What did Game Boy Advance came out? What, 2000? 2001?
Yeah, dude, the Game Boy.
It was so long.
1987 all the way to like 2000 with the Game Boy Color.
Well, yeah, the Game Boy Color came out in 99 because that was my first Game Boy. Was the Game Boy Color, but it was not anything special. It was literally, you barely saw the fucking color on the damn thing because it was like, it still had no backlight. Yeah, it was so bad. The contrast was horrible.
But I mean, was a 16-bit console in your pocket, so that was cool.
Yeah, and well, no, the Game Boy Color was not 16-bit. It was the Game Boy Color was just the Game Boy Advance was 16-bit, and that had a backlight. Actually, the original one did not have a backlight? I forget, but I know that they eventually did.
No, the SP.
Okay, the SP was the one that back. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say Game Boy Advance didn't have a backlight. Man, Nintendo, man.
I had one of those big like lights you clipped onto the
yes. Remember that
with
shit?
The magnifier.
Magnifier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Now.
Yeah. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah.
That was too much. Yeah.
Game Boy accessories, man.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Nintendo was always cheap. They were always fucking cheap, man. When shit sold, they never fucking. They're like, why should we upgrade anything? You keep buying the shit. And the same thing happened with the Switch. You keep buying it. Why do we need to give you anything new? You keep buying this shit. So I kind of feel like this leak saga is kind of like karmic justice for Nintendo. Like, bro, like I know, like you're making a lot of money off of us, but like we want you to give us something a little bit more powerful, and we wanted it like 4 years ago. So, but yeah, like Nintendo didn't put a backlight until 2001. That's crazy. Wow. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. The Game Gear had a backlight in 1994.
Yep. That's also why the batteries are drained like super fast.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Lucky if you played a half hour of that shit before it died.
Oh, yeah, dude. The best way to play a Game Gear was having like a battery pack that plugged up to a wall. It wasn't very portable.
Yeah. I remember going on a road trip with a friend who had a Game Gear. I had a Game Boy. The Game Boy lasted like almost 8 hours on AA batteries. I think the Game Gear lasted maybe an hour. Not even.
Yeah, maybe. It took same amount too, like four AA's.
Wait, the Game Boy took 4 AA's? Oh, the original Game Boy might have, but I don't think the smaller ones did. I don't think the Game Boy Color took 4.
No, it took 2, but the original Game Boy,
the original one took 4. Yeah,
4. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's that's what's interesting, and not only that, you couldn't recharge your batteries back then. Yeah, for Nintendo to move to the DS and have a rechargeable battery for the first time was fucking crazy too. Like, oh my god, I don't have to change the batteries.
Battery pack you could get for the advanced Game Boy Advance.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Was that an official Nintendo thing too?
I don't know, but I remember the Advance was able to have like a rechargeable battery pack.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It was around that time lithium-ion batteries started becoming pretty popular. But like I remember for my DS, I used to have like a hacked homebrew player that I could play movies on, and it had like a USB connection. I could just like throw any movies I wanted onto it, pop that shit into the DS, and I had like a whole like OS browser. I could like view files and everything. It was so cool, man. So like I was just like wondering, because like sometimes Nintendo systems can do wild things, but usually it's not an official Nintendo product. It's usually some third party shit.
Yeah, but hopefully the next episode, a couple weeks, there might be
we should know.
We should know. We should know.
And hopefully we'll get some more about the we're gonna talk more about what was right and what was wrong and all of that. So
I was gonna ask you guys like what you think, like just like throw some shit into the ring as to what you think like the gimmick's gonna be, but I don't know, man. There's just so much.
I mean, I think we kind of like in a more
we kind of hashed it, but it's like we didn't like make any solid predictions. Yeah, I want to kind of see if anyone wants to put their hat in the ring for anything that they think is actually going to be like a thing that's going to happen with this console. Like, do you think the mouse thing is real? No, you think it's
no
a heartbeat mouse sensor? No mouse. So mouse. Okay.
No, I think that's
Villain,
a Joy-Con
no mouse.
sensor. Yeah, I think it's going to be
What do you think that sensor does? You think it just senses like when it attaches to the console?
Yeah, I think it just senses.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a boring attachment sensor.
All right, this is all on the record, so we're gonna replay this at some point.
Okay.
It also may have something to do, I don't know, with infrared, with like most possible motion controls or something for some type of reader externally. I don't know.
Usually that IR is usually protected though, not exposed like that. So that's what's interesting about it. Usually that means you need that kind of IR sensor needs close contact with something. So but so you guys think that it's not a mouse, and you think it's just for attaching, just to sense when it attaches back to the console. That's what you're claiming. Okay,
yep, right. That's it. I think that's all it's for.
You don't think the Switch 2 is going to have a new gimmick?
No, I think it'll have software stuff that's gimmicky, but I don't think like the physical thing itself.
No physical gimmick. No new physical gimmick whatsoever.
I don't think so, because I mean they still have technical motion controls with the gyro controls and like the Pro controllers, and they have, again, the Joy-Cons are basically Wiimotes on their own. They also have motion controls as well. Like, I don't know how much more gimmicky they could get with everything. And also, the biggest gimmick about the Switch is
no surprises on the physical gimmick front from either Kai or Villain. Gotcha.
I think it's gonna be a boring old Switch. I think everything is just gonna be a boring Switch software.
Everything's gonna be software. Okay, all right.
And I think it's all going to be features that it should have had.
So the new USB port on the top is just passive charging for tabletop. Nothing special.
Yeah, because one of the big complaints about it was you couldn't charge and play at the tabletop
that is true.
time. So I think that's just addressing that.
So a bunch of menial upgrades that we've been begging for a decade.
It may be a video out that you can do, maybe, but I think that's the most exciting thing it's going to do. It may do video out, like the bottom thing, but I think they're going to want you to use the dock for video out.
I don't think I kind of see it being pointless for video out on the top, but
the only other thing I could see for the USB at the top would be some type of data transfer, maybe of some sort, which I don't know what you wouldn't necessarily be transferring data from the Switch or to another Switch, possibly.
Pokemon Link cable, baby, let's go!
Oh yeah, old link cable. Fuck that Wi-Fi shit. Give me a cable, bro.
They're going for the real nostalgic feels. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of find it interesting that neither of you think that there's going to be some kind of wowzer type moment with like the physical aspect of the console.
No.
I don't. Yeah, because I mean, it's just an upgraded Switch. And it's also probably gonna have a touch screen as well that most people don't even use on the Switch right now, but it has a touch screen.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think, I think everything's gonna be software. I think it's gonna be a lot of like, again, shit. And again, exciting stuff from a perspective of, well, it's about fucking time, but people are gonna overhype it. It's gonna have that weird social thing. I think. You think
Vidmeo? You think my crazy prediction might be true?
Vidmeo? Well,
that was because that's like the one rumor that doesn't have a lot of credibility.
I think it's possible.
It's got one tiny little smidge of like cross-reference with like a corroborated post from someone else who had something right, but it's really not a lot to go off of.
Yeah, I'm not throwing my weight behind it, but I think it's possible. I mean, I don't see why not. They've done shit like that in the past. And Nintendo, like, they don't like playing well with other services. They like to have their own because they don't like game streaming. So I don't suspect you'll see a lot of improvements in that. They don't like videos of their games being posted. They don't like unsanctioned reviews. So you won't see a lot of that. So it would make sense that they would have some kind of like closed network attempt at that to kind of have people share their stuff there. And so I think you'll see some of that. You'll see some software stuff. I don't think it's going to be like anything. I mean, now they may roll Labo 2 out for it later.
I was waiting for that.
They may roll the cardboard out for it later. But I don't think. Yeah, I think
after you brokies can buy your Switch 2 for $350. Here's some cardboard, and now you guys have a Meta 3. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think. I don't think there's gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be much in the way of like, man, that's wild and crazy. I'm happy to be wrong.
I wonder what we're gonna talk about next week if this thing gets revealed.
About how,
because we're gonna have to make a montage. Yeah, we're gonna have to make a montage about these claims here. So that's interesting.
I mean, I'll be happy to be wrong. Well, maybe, because I think the gimmicks are kind of. No one ever uses the gimmicks after a while. It's like the haptic fucking shit where they're like, you can feel the balls in the fucking Switch. No one ever used that ever again. It did it for the one thing and then never again.
I know, there's like a total of like 3 games that use that shit.
So I would rather them, honestly, for me, and this may be unpopular among the Switch guys, I would rather them focus on just making the console better, stack some more power into it, give us some features. Let me invite the homies. Let me just invite the homies. Let me have voice chat. I need to be able to invite the homies to a party and just talk to my Switch while I'm playing it and hear the homies.
There you go.
You could do that on the DS, the 3DS, and Pokemon, actually, oddly enough. Like, I should be able to invite you guys to a party, kick back on my couch physically, not even need a headset, and just, or, plug a headset in real quick, have that. Those types of things.
It still has an audio cable jack and aux jack, so
I'm gonna tell you, if they come out with a gimmick and they don't have those things I just listed, I will be disappointed. I won't be excited for the gimmick at all. I'll be upset, not upset, but like, I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, you have this fucking, I can use my damn Joy-Con as a mouse, but I can't invite the homies to a party.
Yes, their online offerings are very weak.
Yeah. I can put this down, attach wheels to it, and use it as a skateboard, but I can't use a fucking headset. I can't just plug a headset in and use it. Like, it's
right.
Yeah, they need to get the basics. I have no problem with it just being an upgraded Switch with some features that we need.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're gonna get. I don't think it's gonna be anything wild or crazy.
Well,
yeah, it's just gonna be an upgraded Switch with some quality of life features.
one last thing though. One last thing. So you guys don't think the optical sensor is anything cool? You guys don't think the USB port on the top is going to be cool?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think the C button is for?
I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, again, it's a software thing, so who knows? It's gonna be. Again, I think it's.
It's a software thing? Okay.
It's going to be quick access to something. It's going to be they're going to
historically Nintendo had C buttons, and they usually were camera buttons. Just
they're
saying.
gonna. It might have a camera. I didn't see one on that mock-up, but
no, there's definitely no camera in the system. That's what people said. Oh, well, the USB-C might be for a camera add-on.
No, maybe it's not going to be. I think there's probably going to be something. I think there might be something to the social thing, maybe. And
it's just community. Chat,
yeah, pull that up.
Connection.
Something. I don't think chat. I don't think they'd have just one big chat button, but it might be like a party button.
I'm just saying, like something social, like just those words alone are just all social words that usually can be tied to that letter.
Honestly, I think what it might be is it might just be like the Xbox button, like or the PlayStation button, because they have a home button.
Maybe not. I don't know,
but they don't have like that button, right? So it could just pull up like the overlay for, this is your friends list, your party, stuff like that.
That's true. Like a social button. Like, oh, here's all my friends that they're playing these games. I really do think that would be the killer feature of the Switch 2 is like a whole OS overlay, completely new ways to integrate with the OS and the games and the social aspect. I think that's S tier. Yeah. I think that's going to be cool. So,
I think that's an Xbox button or PlayStation button. I think that's what that is.
I can't wait till we go back and analyze like where we were now and where we're going to be 2 weeks from now. So this is going to be exciting. So Kai, I think you got something you want to move along here.
Oh yeah, we're just just want to wrap up, Nintendo there. It's always a lot to discuss.
It's wrapped up. I think we put a couple of bows on that one.
Yeah, it's wrapped up. That's what he said.
Wrapped up, ready to go. All right, just want to, we also have some possible more thoughts on, some more things coming up in the next year, possible games or any other trends that you might be thinking of. What do you think or looking forward to, there, Villain?
Well, first off, I'll say I am upset that he didn't bring up Persona 5 during the what we've been playing section, so I could spend 30 minutes talking about how much I love that game. Right. Speaking of, I hope that Persona 6 gets announced this year. There's some rumors kind of swirling around about that. Well, there have been for a while, but we're really past due for that.
It's true.
I've been waiting on that one, but I mean, I'm just, I'm excited for all the shit that everyone else is excited for the most part. Gotcha. GTA, again, Avowed, I think under Avowed, and also Outer Worlds too. Really excited for that. A lot of good RPGs coming out. Kingdom Come Deliverance, too. I love RPGs, and there's a lot of them. Again, the Switch 2, that's a wild card. So who knows what I'm gonna be like? Oh fuck! Now I gotta play this. Now I'm playing.
I know my wallet can't handle this shit, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a broke year, for sure.
Cicada the brokey.
Yeah, but I think a lot of stuff's been kind of. I don't think there's going to be too many surprises, really, but we'll see. But yeah.
All right. Cool. Oh yeah. Well, it'd be cool if we got some Persona 6. Maybe that'll be a thing.
It won't be out this year, but I just want it announced.
Little Half-Life 3, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little Half-Life 3.
Oh my god.
There is like some speculation on that.
Wait, no, there's actually credibility to it. Wait.
No, there's just speculation happening.
There's not though.
No, I'm not saying that there's credible things happening. If there's speculation, there's a difference.
This is. I mean, I feel
believe me, folks.
Man. Listen, believe me. You're with Half-Life 3 like I am about the KOTOR remake. Like it's never happening. It's never. And the KOTOR remake's been announced.
Holding on to hope.
And it's never happening.
We're gonna. I'm looking at it right now. Half-Life 3 this year, guys.
Oh my god,
It's gonna be announced in June.
Are you leaking? Is this a leak? Are you leaking
This is a
Half-Life
leak.
3?
This is a leak. You heard it here first, folks.
Now.
Yeah, Kai
You
leaks
heard it here
Half-Life
first.
3.
Jesus.
I'm pinning this in the chat.
Jesus.
So what about you, Zai? Anything in particular you thinking about other than the Switch 2? Obviously, that's probably your biggest thing.
Well, like I said, the Switch 2 is my personality right now. It's my kick. I'm involved, obviously, in a lot of things. We're 2025 for the Spotum community as a whole is going to be a kind of a big lift. I said this in the last episode, but I think it bears repeating. Our birthday is coming up on February 24th. It's going to be Spotum's third birthday. Third birthday. We have a lot of things planned and in the works. We also are going to be launching a lot of new features on our Discord. We're going to be hopefully launching the long-anticipated Spotum Houses feature.
Dang, fuck.
Finally.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Spotum Houses
fuck,
feature is in the pipeline, possibly ready to go within the next month. There's also going to be a couple other things we've been talking about. I don't know if you guys saw this conversation earlier today. There's a lot of different things we're talking about. Redoing the leveling system, so that way the leveling system is now kind of going to be tied to shoutouts and raids and stuff like that. Just a lot of stuff that we're working on.
Nice.
So between playing games, following all this fucking Switch 2 news, and making sure that the community has new and better tools, and having more fun in the server and in the community, obviously, that's pretty much like taking up. I don't know if you saw the leak. I leaked something in the general chat on Discord. Like I have the new payroll system, and it just shows how many hours that were signed on and stuff. And I'm signed on like 80 hours a week. Of course, now Tay is signing me off because I'm forgetting to sign off sometimes. But either way, yeah. So that's it, man. That's what's eating up my time. Yeah, I think you got like a total of 6 hours. I'm like, he was signed on that long? I'm like, that seems like that sounds like too long for villain. But yeah,
I'm also signed on sometimes.
Yeah, and then signed on for 24 hours.
Listen, my work is very public. Everyone can see the work I do. I just don't sign in for it.
Right?
Nah, it's all good.
That's super exciting about the server coming up. I'm looking forward to a lot of changes. That's awesome. For me personally, there's probably a lot of stuff I'm forgetting about. It's possibly going to be coming up this year.
Yeah.
But the probably biggest one right now is going to be the new Elden Ring Night Rain. It's a fun software game. I've got to play it. It's Elden Ring.
Me too.
I gotta get it.
We'll learn it together if you want.
Right? Yeah. I'll be down for that. It's supposed to be like a 3-player co-op. From my understanding, it's gonna be kind of like a Warzone type deal. It's gonna be interesting. But another game, it's gonna be a Souls-like game, and there's gonna be quite a bit of Souls-likes coming out this year. From indie titles and stuff, and one in particular I'm looking at is Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. It's a Chinese game, but it looks pretty good. So hopefully that, and then there's going to be also Kazan or Berserker of Kazan or something like that. I can't remember the exact title, but yeah, it's also going to be a odd Souls-like game. But I don't know about that one because I saw some footage and gameplay and showing like damage and everything, and it showed you doing like 9,000 damage.
Oh, it's one of those.
And then it's like
it's over 9,000.
It's over 9,000. But yeah, no, like it took off like a little bit of health.
Then something just snapped. Something inside of me.
Oh man.
Then I just snapped, and I became super. Now it's a super Vegeta. No, super Saiyan Vegeta.
He's too good at that. He's too good at that.
Oh, it's fucking great.
Kakarot.
Too good at that. Yeah, I see, like I said before, I'm like a purist when it comes to Souls games. It's got to be from software, or I just don't want it.
I get that, but
It feels like it feels like we have Dark Souls.
It feels bad
every time. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
We have Dark Souls at home.
It's gotten to a point where a lot of developers are starting to finally crack the code for the feel of these Souls likes, and like how From Software kind of does it. So it's been interesting times seeing how that genre has been developing. Yeah, that's pretty much for me for right now until watch more stuff coming out. But yeah, definitely, we're going to be pretty much ending our show here, guys. We want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us forever.
Yeah, and sticking with us as
long 3.5
hours sometimes. Yeah, but
thank you, Rain. We saw you.
Yes, and again, without you guys, there would be no point of doing this. So
it wouldn't be a podcast. We'd just be three dickheads talking about shit. You know?
Exactly.
It's not. It's a podcast. Y'all make it a podcast, and that's great, and we appreciate it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We appreciate that.
100%. Thank you, Monarch.
Make sure to, so for just make sure to give us any likes and follows, anything like that. And one big thing that we actually finally are going to be kind of rolling out here soon is we're going to be adding a 4th segment to the podcast. And what's going to be great about this is that it's going to be a community-driven topic.
I hate you so much.
The cringe levels are going off the chart.
It's going to be community-driven. We're going to be having a poll for it every year. So if you want to be part of that and see what the community wants us to talk about or possibly want to see our insights on, we'll be having a poll on that possibly a week before. Join the Discord so you can always keep up with that. And I also know whenever we're live everything. And again, there's going to be we're going to have more likely have more Nintendo stuff next episode.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we'll make it spicy next week. It'll be me telling you guys how wrong you were about your predictions. We'll do that. We'll do a roast.
But again, we also might be talking about some of that Shad PS4 because that is a crazy topic alone on its own.
I'm curious about that one.
And just to defend my subject, by the way, like I said, and I did this as a premise. No, because I have to do this on the record, just so I can defend my topic. Okay, this is a once in a lifetime thing. All right, this is history in the making. Okay, so this is very relevant. This is relevant to current events. Okay, this isn't just like some baseless speculation bullshit. All right, this is actually legit news. All right.
This is my life, guys. It is who I am.
This is my life now. This is my life now. Yeah. So, I do think that, even though it does seem like it's a little monotonous or like it's a little repetitive, it's really kind of not, because we're getting something new. Something new is coming. Yeah. So we're following this news, and that's why.
No, it's fine. Listen, the topic's great. It's just funny you're so insecure about it.
My topic matters, guys. It totally matters.
No one has said anything. Guys. No one has complained about it at all.
No, because if you watch the last episode that we ended, it was the same. It was bad. It was just bad. But no, never mind. Whatever.
That was just me being sick and agitated. Like, okay, I just want to.
No, but you said it again, so it's like I know you're getting a little like this topic's got to die, but you got a little. We're gonna milk this topic for every ounce it's worth. So
no, I mean it's fine. It gets news and it's been a fun topic. But as for
I think we'll actually know. We'll have a real reveal next time. So hopefully that's the case, and it's not more rumors and shit. But we'll see.
Yeah, we probably will. But yeah. But as for us individually, we all have our own socials and our own things we're doing. Zai, where can people find you, man?
People know where to find me. Find me in the Discord. I'm always on. If you're gonna follow me on Twitter, you're just gonna see a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 shit. If you actually want to hang out, game, party up, play community night, do shit like that. Go to the Discord, which is like my second home. Go to the Discord, which is like my second home, and we'll be able to hook up there, and we'll be able to link up. So,
oh hell yeah! And Villain, where can people check out? See where you're up to?
Well, do not come to my house. You can find me at True Villain on Twitch and the True Villain on Twitter or X.
Hell yeah. And if you're not following those guys, what are you doing with your life?
For real.
And then for me personally, basically almost all socials, you can find me at Kadnitsu on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all the socials, because it's what you got to do.
All of the horrible corners of the internet.
Great. Yeah. But yeah, again, I thank you all for coming out and helping us make this a great episode. And I think that's where we're going to be signing out for this evening. Thank you again. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves.
Got the follow trains rolling non-stop. Spotters unite, cream of the crop. Dreams blow up, never gon' flop. Dreams turn real, cause we never drop. Digital dollars squirreled away. Spot 'em game pride, making that hay. Twitch homie scream, we making our way. Success inevitable, game we gon' swing.